All right, Pab, take it away. We're ready. Ish.
All right.
I'm being captive. I know.
Mika is not being held captive. He volunteered to be here for sure. Don't call the police. Welcome to our dungeon roulette. Our supposed to be Friday night one shots for budding DMs and players alike. Tonight it is my turn, Pop the Mag. I've been a player in just about everyone else's campaigns and stuff, and one shots, and now it's my turn to play the supreme being in charge of all the stuff.
Oh yeah.
Tonight's one shot is titled Murder. Question mark, exclamation point, question mark, or exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point. I don't really remember which one we decided on.
Murder.
Murder?
So we're gonna start out with just a basic overview of the country that you guys are going to be in, which is the country of Washington. This country has a very unique and diverse geography. It's got dense forests and mountain ranges. It's on the coast of an ocean, arid farmland. It's got mountains. It's if it's a geological feature, it has one of them somewhere in this country. At the I wouldn't say quite at the heart, more or less about the right lung of this country sits the capital of Olympia, where our one shot will take place. Olympia has been ruled by generations upon generations of the royal family Aurelian, with the Honorable Reginald Gigas as its current king. Reginald Gigas has sent out invitations to many famous and powerful adventurers in order to honor their deeds and services to the people of the land. He's going to be throwing a gala in their honor and will be awarding land and titles to those adventurers. So to start off, I would like each of you to roll initiative.
Immediately?
And this is not for a fight. This is just for introductions.
It's just like Mika.
So
Maybe.
I also, for some reason, I get advantage on initiative rolls. So give me a second.
Go ahead.
That's crazy.
Go
Well, I
ahead.
think I just wasted my luck.
Okay, so that's.
I got a pure godly D20.
Oh, that was shit. That was an 8. All right, let's try again. Okay.
Put mine in the chat.
My roll is a 9. With
A 9
advantage.
for a 9 for Mombi. All right.
I wasted my luck. I got a 20.
Okay. Mika's got a
5.
I hate my luck sometimes.
All right, so Mika's gonna go first.
Pretty much all the time. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So it'll be Mika, Mombi, and then Z bringing up the rear. So Mika, what I want you to do, let me set the scene for you here. You're going to be approaching a main gate. However, the way that you approach is completely up to you, and you can stylize it and make it as cool or as dull as you want to. The point is that you're going to stop at the gate. And for example, one of my favorite Disney movies of all time is Aladdin. And when I envisioned doing this, I thought about the Prince Ali song, where he enters the Sultan's grounds and is basically accompanied by a menagerie. Now, you don't have to do this, but I will leave it up to each of you to decide how your character approaches the gates, and however you want to do that will be that. And you can give your name, and we'll start from there. So, Mika, go ahead, present yourself.
Okay. As Quex Roosevelt approaches the gate, he hunches on his back, holding his spear. He announces himself to the guards on the other side, if there are any. And he says, I am Crux Roosevelt. Please open the main gate.
Okay. As you approach the gate, you see that there's guards. They're like kind of very stiff and proper, almost like Buckingham Palace, where they just kind of stand there. Your standard, just heavily armed guards holding pole arms and swords and all of that. So, some of the guards actually don't look like guards at all, and one of the guards is dressed in what looks like peasant clothes to you. And they stop you as you approach the gate.
Cool.
The guy that is dressed in peasant clothes, he looks up at you and he kind of just gives you a quick glance and he's like, all right, name please.
Okay. I am Quex Roosevelt.
And he looks at his list of papers. He looks at his list of papers and he's looking and he's flipping through the papers and he's trying to Quex. Ah, yes, here you are. Quex Roosevelt. And he kind of raises an eyebrow and looks at you. And he notices that you are missing an arm. And he's like, oh, so there may be some truth to your tale after all. Do you have a response?
I'd rather not talk about it. He snares back at him.
He kind of chuckles and he wags an eyebrow and he's like, I bet that's quite a tale. Yeah, so I'm gonna ask that you surrender all your gear to me and hold your arms out, outstretched to either side of you, and one of my boys here is gonna check you to make sure you ain't got anything super dangerous on you.
That is fine with me.
Okay, so
gives him his beer and boomerang.
Okay. So they take your stuff and they put it in like a crate and they slap like a label on it that says Quex. And these dudes in robes walk up to you and they kind of take out, it almost looks like the oar of a boat. But instead of having a long handle, it's got like a little short handle. And they take it and they just start kind of waving it all around your body. And you can hear faint little almost beeps and chirps coming from this paddle basically. And once they get done, they kind of get to where your arm is starting to be missing, and it starts to go off like crazy. Do you have an explanation for that?
Quex he just grunts just from the noise, and he's like, all right, fine. I really want to stop that noise. He moves like his cloth that's covering it and showing all the way up to his shoulder. And
describe what they see.
They see a petrified, most likely petrified skin, and it's like a rocky form.
Okay. So you got, is it like from the shoulder up, or is it like maybe like the elbow up, or?
It's from the shoulder all the way to the collarbone.
Okay. So the guy in the robe, he's just he kind of looks at you and he's like, he's kind of perplexed. He doesn't understand like what exactly is making his little paddle go off. And he looks at you like he wants to ask what this is about, but I'm sure you're glaring daggers at him, so he kind of keeps his mouth shut. And the guy that's in peasant clothes, he just kind of he kind of rushes up and he's like, "No, don't harass the guy. Let him go. He's legit." And he gestures for you to put your arms down. And he was like, "Go ahead on through to the gate, and you'll meet a really fancy old man. He'll be waiting to receive you. And once everybody arrives, you'll be taken to go see the king." Do you have any questions? Do you want to ask him anything? Do you want to talk to him?
He looks at him and he just says this one thing. Please do not leave. Do not forget anything of my belongings, please.
Oh no, we got a crate right here, specially just for you with your name on it. He pats the box. He said, "I'll take good care of your stuff, friend." And he steps aside and allows you to walk through. Roll a perception check for me.
Okay. A 15.
Okay. So as you approach the gate, you notice almost like the air is shimmering. It's kind of like when you look out on a highway on a hot day and you see the heat waves coming up from the asphalt, the right where the gate's at. It's just kind of, it's almost like it's moving. Roll an Arcana check for me.
Okay. Should I add it? Should I continue adding stuff?
If you have pluses in Arcana, then yeah.
Okay. 17 plus 8, so 25?
Okay. So you notice that as you approach the gate and you see the shimmering, it's almost like the gate is willing you to stop. And for a moment, you feel like you can't pull your shoulder quite through. The rest of your body goes fine, but your shoulder, it's almost like it's telling you instinctively to remove yourself. Do you want to fight it, or do you want to keep trying to keep going?
I'm gonna fight it.
Okay.
Like, pull through it.
All right. You walk through and nothing happens. You continue on through towards to enter into the castle grounds, and a short ways away in the courtyard you see a man in pretty much like a black and white tuxedo. And he is an older gentleman. He's got pretty much all white hair. He slicked back. He has a very prestigious posture about him. And he looks at you and he says, "Oh yes, young Roosevelt. It's a pleasure to meet you. I've heard many tales about you."
Are you the one guiding me?
Yes, my name is Sebas. I will be taking you to see the king once all the other once all the other adventurers have arrived. And just if you will wait here momentarily and enjoy the courtyard, we will be up to see the king shortly.
Good sir. Thank you.
All right. Mombi, you are next. Again, as much pop and circumstance as you want. Please approach the gate.
Okay, so for what everyone else sees, a 6'6" giant hulking Amazon of a elfish looking woman approaches the gate. She has on full armor, does not care that she's about to go up to a castle to go see all these lords and ladies and the king. It does not matter. In full armor, has a giant great sword over one shoulder, a giant battle axe on another, a hand axe on each hip. Um, her armor is dark gray with black filigree, and there's also what's easily guessed to be dried blood spots all over her armor, because who cares? Doesn't have the time to clean off that stuff. Her hair is very long and silvery white. It's shaved on one side and braided along where the shaving starts to kind of keep it all on one section of her head. Her skin is very, very pale, that's tinted blue, and her eyes are an orangey amber that almost glow. Um, Against like the rest of her skin, and her hair is almost colorless. So they look very, very bright. She is terrifying looking, hulking woman. At her side, that comes up to maybe about her knees, is the cutest rainbow unicorn you've ever seen. And it like trots along happily beside her with glitter just flouncing off of its rainbow mane. And it's like the rest of its coat is just beautifully pristine white. So its tail and its mane are rainbows, and then around its hooves are rainbow fur. And it almost looks like a lollipop kind of curly Q horn that comes off from its head, just trotting beside her. And it's kind of it's very jarring to see the two walking together. And so Izord approaches the guard and just stares. And
Okay.
also she
Uh,
has intimidating
all of the
presence.
other,
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was about to say, so for whatever reason, all of the regular guards they're sweating bullets. They are obscenely nervous. One of them actually involuntarily takes a few steps back. Like he doesn't realize that he's doing this, but all like imagine all these guards in a line, and then there's just one on the end, and he's kind of like 5 steps away from the rest of them. Um, the other guys in robes, they're not quite as intimidated. They they seem to be more, I don't know how you say, I guess more stable, more about their heads. And the head guard himself is not even looking at you. The guy in peasant clothes, he's looking down at his little board with papers on it, and he doesn't like he knows that you're there, but he doesn't look up at you, and he just very plainly asks for your name.
So I want to use intimidating presence on the guy with the clipboard with the board. Um,
Okay.
So you have to roll a wisdom saving throw.
Okie dokie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh Lord.
Okay. So he got a 2.
Okay, he failed.
Oh man.
Um,
Yeah,
so
mega failed.
yeah, mega fail. Let's see. What is it? You can use your action to extend. Oh, so he's just frightened of me now.
He's extremely scared of you. So he asks for your name, and you don't say anything. You're just standing there menacingly.
Yep.
And he finally looks up from his keyboard, and he didn't like he looked up to like what a normal person's eye level or height would be, realized that he was not staring at a head, and continued to look up. And when he finally reached the top, like he had to look up so high that the sun was in his eyes, and he freaks out and throws his clipboard up in the air and kind of goes, "Ugh," and he give me a perception check.
Okay, hold on.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
She's a scary character, man.
My Little Pony. My
Okay,
Little Pony.
perception. I got a 12. I'm not rolling
Okay.
well this evening.
He you don't know where, but all of a sudden there's like a liquid on the ground, like directly beneath him. You don't know where it came from though,
There's
but
wood
the
on the
ground is
ground.
wet.
Oh, the
And-
ground is wet.
No, it's the ground is wet. The ground is wet. You don't really notice where it came from, but there is a puddle on the ground, and it's very suspiciously in front of him. He he quivers a little bit, and he's like, "Oh, I know who you are." And he's like, "You're the I know exactly who you are." And he starts to flip through his papers a little bit. And hold on, I gotta look something up real quick.
That's up through your own papers also.
Yeah, I didn't expect to have to pull this out, but it's Mombi's it's Mombi's backstory. I wanted to use the title that she gave her, and I couldn't remember what it was. I was like, I didn't think I was gonna need it, but I think he says, "I know you. You're that ice touched gal, aren't you?" Do you respond?
That's what
You
she
just
says.
grunt.
She just grunts.
Okay, just a very guttural grunt.
Yep.
Yeah. I heard all about you. Can you understand me?
She just glares.
Okay. He says, I'm gonna take that as a yes. 1 second. You gave me quite a fright. And he snaps his fingers, and his peasant clothes disappears, and for a moment he is just stark naked in all his glory. And then he, almost in that same breath, new clothes appears, and they're kind of fancy, more like what a bard would what a bard would wear, maybe a bard that performs would wear. Not quite on the level of Elvish Presley, but it's still pretty fancy. And he says, I wasn't planning to wear this until later tonight, but I guess you forced my hand." And he says, look, Miss Ice Touched, I see you got a lot of magical goodies. He said, "I'm gonna need you to deposit those in one of these here boxes and hold your arms out for me so we can check you for more stuff."
So Izord continues to just stare like blankly at him. And then from beside her,
How long does the frightening presence last?
until
How,
it moves out of line of sight or more than 60 feet
oh,
away.
out of your
So it like you're
okay. So I mean,
indefinitely
they
away.
haven't moved at all, so he's still terrified.
Yeah. He's
Okay.
Still
Yeah.
terrified.
So you're staring daggers at him. You are obviously not going to comply. He is absolutely super duper terrified of you. He says, "Okay, keep your stuff, but the horse has got to stay. We cannot allow animals into the kingdom without being properly checked first."
Not animal, friend.
And he looks at you, and then he looks at, does your My Little Pony have a name?
His name is Pretty.
Okay. He looks at, well, I guess he wouldn't know that, but he looks down at the horse, or what appears to be a horse to him, and he looks back up to you, and he looks back at the horse. He's like, "No, I'm pretty sure that's an animal."
And then in his mind, he hears, I'm not an animal. I am Izord's best friend.
Oh,
I'm also her translator.
what? Oh, where is that? Where is that coming from? And he looks around for a second, and then he looks at Pretty, and he kind of stares deep into her eyes, and she, I would assume she gives him like a little wink.
Well, she like shakes all over, and glitter just flies from her rainbow mane and stamps her
Oh,
feet.
that's glorious. Yeah. he looks at himself. He's just covered in head to toe, from head to toe in glitter, and he actually kind of digs it. Like this is like an addition to his look, and he's like,
Oh,
I like you. He's like, you know what? She can go. She can go. You can all go. Go ahead. Pat, go on past through the gate. You'll meet a guy. He's really an older, fancy gentleman. There's already another person up there. We're expecting one more. Just go ahead and have a seat and wait with them. And once this last person arrives, you can go and meet the king.
And Azor just
Okay.
like
I'm
shoulder bumps him super hard, which is more like an elbow to shoulder. I'm assuming for this guy since he had to crane his head up so high to see her, like to look her in the eyes, and just brushes by.
roll an unarmed strike.
Oh God. Okay.
Roll an unarmed strike.
Okay. So okay, just a flat roll. Roll. It's a 19 to hit. I assume that hit.
All right. Yeah, you definitely hit it.
Okay, and then
Depending on how much damage you do is gonna change what happens.
it's just 4. The damage is 4. Because it's 3. It's like the strength modifier plus 1, right?
4 straight up.
Yeah, just 4.
Oh, okay. I forgot about that. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So with a 19 and this shoulder check from hell, like you probably just turned your body to walk.
cut off.
Yeah, you cut
Party
off.
actually flies back like 10 feet and
Pab, you cut off.
Yeah,
oh,
what
hello.
happened? Go ahead.
Hello.
So
Oh,
we heard
okay.
that
So
Izord turned.
so she's probably just turning her body to move, but in reality she shoulder checked this guy so hard. She knocked him prone and he's like 10 feet away from where he was standing. And you hurt him bad. You kind of hurt him pretty bad. Does she take notice of this or does she just keep going?
Izord doesn't notice at all, but Pretty comes up and she's like, "Oh, sorry about that. She doesn't really pay attention to things," and then kind of like boops him with her lollipop horn on his head and uses healing touch and gets him back to all rights.
brings it back.
Yeah, brings him back.
He wants to he kind of wants to like hug her. Or hug him. Pretty, I don't know if Pretty's a boy or girl.
Okay. I mean, are you gonna try? Is he gonna try?
Do you want to make me roll for it, or?
Oh, I'm just asking if he is or not. Like you said, he kind of wants.
Yeah,
to.
he's
Is
gonna.
he going
He's
to?
gonna like. He gets knocked down, and you just kind of prance over and kind of boop him on the head, and he like is filled with like this euphoria. It is like the most peaceful, calming. Just he all over. He feels fantastic, and he just wants to like hug something. He wants to share this love that he felt when the unicorn touched him on the head. Well, he doesn't know it's a unicorn. This horse with a lollipop on its forehead.
Yep.
He attempts to hug Pretty.
So then Zord turns and goes, "Hey, Pretty, mine."
He mid hug, he has his arms up and he kind of slowly puts his arms back down and puts his head down because he's sad he didn't get to hug Pretty. And yeah, I guess you. I'm assuming you're gonna walk through the gate.
Yeah, Zord walks through the gate, and then Pretty like stamps her hooves around and like shakes again, and glitter goes everywhere, and then he hears and said, she's a little prickly, but she's good on the inside. Promise. And then like kind of like swats him in the face, kind of not hard with her tail, but just like sorry about that. Like, oh,
Like
a little
she turns around and kind of, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, gives him a little swipe with her
So
tail. And then trots behind, glitter just
as
raining everywhere.
he's even covered. He's covered in more glitter than he was before, and he
Yeah.
is fucking loving it. So as his sword approaches the gate, is it I sword or is sword?
His sword. Little
Is
eye.
sword.
Eh.
As it little eye. Is as his sword approaches the gate, I want you to make both a perception and an arcana check.
Okay. So we'll do perception first. Perception is a 28.
Oh
And
lord.
then Arcana is 18.
Are any of those a crit?
No.
Well, obviously the arcana's not, but okay. So with a perception check, she sees almost like it's almost like you're looking at a very, very, very clean pane of glass. It's like you know that there's something there and that it's not just like you're gonna walk through a screen door that is just as clean as it can possibly be. And with the arcana check, she feels all of her magical swag just almost like it's pulling against her, like she doesn't want to walk through, like it's telling her she doesn't want to walk through this pane of glass. And because you didn't surrender your equipment, I would like for you to make wait, are you going to fight against this or are you going to stop?
Izord would actually ask Pretty's idea of what this is, if she's not exactly sure
So
what it is herself.
so Pretty does not want to, she almost doesn't want to get near this pane of glass or this looking like it's larger than it's almost like it surrounds the entire, like if you look up into the sky, it goes past the gate. And if you look to the left and the right, it goes past the walls and it's almost like a big dome. And she's kind of wary, like she almost doesn't want to approach this gate.
So
You can
Izord,
talk to her and I'll try to RP it out for you if you want.
okay.
Or you can ask questions, however you want to do it.
So as far as Izord knows, we're here for land and titles from the king because of our like
And
coolness.
and a party and yeah, and to be invited. Like when the king asks you to come to something, you go. You never know what the reward is actually going to be, but his invitation said it was land and titles. It might be gold, it might be more pretty things, it might be, you don't know. The king has lots of resources and lots of wealth and could probably procure something that you might want that you wouldn't be able to get.
So Izord looks down at Pretty and notices that, Pretty doesn't want to go in, is kind of like really super hesitant about going in this magical dome. So Izord just in complete opposite to just her general air about herself and just softly strokes through Pretty's mane to try and calm her down a little bit. And they talk in their brains. Izord basically asked Pretty to talk to the guy that likes Pretty, that wanted to hug her and take her away from Izord. That what is this magical force field thing? Is it dangerous or is it just more for protection? And so Pretty basically asked him that.
Okay. So the guard that likes Pretty, now in a bard costume instead of his peasant clothes, he actually he says that this what you he's kind of surprised that you noticed it in the first place. And at the same time he's not, because you guys are world famous adventurers and whatnot, but he assures Pretty that they have nothing to worry about as long as they mean no ill will to the heart to the or they mean no ill will to the crown. He tells Pretty that this barrier reacts strongly to magic of any kind, and it doesn't really matter whether it's celestial or demonic or good or evil in nature, just magic in general kind of almost sets it off and makes the barrier react. He tells Pretty that she must be fairly powerful as far as a magical creature goes to have had such a strong reaction to the barrier, but he assures her that the barrier is for the protection of the kingdom.
Hmm.
He also relays that a lot of the reason why they asked for your stuff in the first place was that so they can take it inside after, obviously they're going to check it, but so they can take it inside and give it back to you without you having to go through this whole process. It's part of the reason why the first guy went through so easy and you guys are kind of not simpatico with the barrier.
Mm. So Izord, taking all this in, she pulls out her great sword and then says, "Cut." And so the sword starts to fly in the air and then tries to go through the barrier. Just a few feet beyond it. Does it go? Does anything happen to the
Yes.
sword?
No. As far as you can see, no.
Okay. So Izord continues through. Basically, just wanted to test out the barrier to make sure it wouldn't hurt Pretty. Grabs the sword, puts it back, waves her through, and then and then continues walking.
I imagine that like she's beckoning Pretty to come to her, and it's kind of like a dog you're trying to get to come inside, but it doesn't want to. It wants to be outside. So she's kind of like, nah, I don't know if I want to go. And
Yeah, and it's like, Pretty,
the
sword, fine, come.
so the bard, the head guard sees that she is still somewhat skittish of it, and he pulls out his golden fiddle and begins to play, and it's almost soothing. Now I know that she can't be charmed or anything like that, but he wants to show her that his magic will go through the barrier as well. And he walks back and forth, almost dancing in between the barriers as he's playing his fiddle, and fireworks and stuff is going off, and he's making kind of like a show for her. Does she go?
Uh, yeah. So Izord goes up to this guard and is looking super scary again, and he's still terrified of her because he hasn't got out of line of sight yet. Izord just looks at him, and what does he look like? What does this guard look like?
He's like ruggedly handsome. He's not he's not built very strong. He's kind of, I don't know, like what I imagine Tom Sawyer would look like, honestly. He's kind of short, he's fairly skinny, he's like he was wearing peasant clothes. He doesn't look like anybody. He's fairly young. He's probably in like his mid-20s. Um he's got like a boyish charm to him. A
Is
very,
he
very boyish and devilish charm.
is he human, or is he a different race?
Yeah.
He's human.
Yeah. No, he's a human.
Okay.
He's 100% human.
Okay. So Zord looks down at him and goes, "Name."
What, me? He points at himself.
Yeah, and she like takes a finger and like hits him really hard in the chest, like right in the sternum. Goes, "Name."
He goes, "Oh, ow. Oh, my name's Johnny." And that's all he says.
Johnny.
Johnny. Johnny. You remember? He points his bow from his fiddle at her and he says, "You remember that name?"
She just scowls at him.
He backs off. He stops pointing his bow at her and actually puts his golden fiddle back on his back, and he takes a few steps away from her. And he's like, "God, tough crowd." And he kind of goes back to his post, awaiting the next person.
Okay, so Izord is kind of like, Izord will remember this. How he was nice to Pretty. And so she has his name now, and then she just like goes up to continue into the castle. But she knows Johnny. Johnny will forever be remembered.
Just a sword. Remember this.
Yeah.
She passes through. She's so ginormous and so strong and so terrifying. She gets to the barrier again, and she feels her gear like pull at her, but she 110,000% ignores this. It's almost like a weak sensation to her at this point, and she just kind of, struggles on through. Meanwhile, Pretty, I'm sure, tentatively follows behind her, and she kind of pokes her head in and realizes nothing happened and she didn't explode and just kind of keeps going. And you walk through and you approach Sebas, and Sebas is like, "Ah, yes, Mrs. Sword, the ice touched. We've been expecting you, and oh, who is this?" And he kind of grins down at Pretty.
Izord looks at Pretty and goes, "Pretty." Looks back at the guy.
And he's like, "Yes, yes, she is very pretty." And he 100% doesn't realize that you said her name or his name. I haven't established that yet.
We'll go with she.
Uh,
I originally was gonna have him as a boy, but I think it works better if it's a girl. So we'll say
if
she.
it's a girl, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so he says, "Oh, she is very pretty. Yes. Mrs. Sword, if you don't mind having a seat here with Mr. Quex. We are awaiting our final guest, and he should be along shortly, and once all of you have gathered, I will take you to see the king."
Okay. So Izord sits down beside Gwex, and Pretty immediately hops into her lap. Like it's just a little lap dog. And Izord's just like softly just petting through her mane. And glitter's going everywhere.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Excellent. Okay. Z, you are our final combatant. Just kidding. You're a guest here. We love you. Please enjoy your stay.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead and introduce yourself. Again, same thing. You can be as pomp and circumstance as you want. However you want to approach the gate. Go have at it.
Nuggets.
All right. So there's a dwarf approaching along the road up to the gate. Red beard, red hair, big, heavy armor. The this dwarf is like, oh, he looks like he's probably as broad as he is tall. He's just a hulking dwarf, and he's wearing huge plate armor. In addition to that, so he looks even bigger, as big as a dwarf can look. He steps, you can like, as he walks, you hear thud,
Oh my.
thud, just from the heavy boots. He's looking down at the ground as he walks, actively avoiding the glitter that he's all over the trail. And he's like, just tough, right? In his great, heavy, huge boots and armor.
A fortress, if
And
you will.
but he's got a really big hammer. Yes. He's got a massive hammer slung over his back. The handle kind of pointing up over his right shoulder. And on his left arm, he actually carries his shield. And there's an amulet around his neck that has a. What was it here? Has a giant mallet over a sword, that amulet. And he approaches the gate, and he actually talks to the gate person first. He just says, do you guys have a glitter party recently? What's up with all the glitter?
So I'm assuming you're talking to the head guard, the one that was wearing peasant clothes but is now wearing bard clothes, formerly known as
Yes.
Okay. So he looks at you and he was like, "Oh, don't mind the mess." He said, "We had a little situation just before you arrived. It's been handled, everything's been taken care of. Don't worry, we assure your safety." He said, "But I would like to get your name." And he kind of points his pen at you. Well, it's a quill. He points his quill at you, and he's holding up this board with papers all over it.
My name is Bernthrall.
Bermthrall. Bermthrall. He starts looking at his list, and he's looking and he's flipping through papers, and he goes to the very last page and he says, "Oh, here you are, Bernthal. Wait, the Bernthal, like Bernthal the bell ringer." He kind of asks in a question.
Yep. Yeah, that's me. You know, you ring one bell one time, and all of a sudden you're the bell ringer forevermore.
"Oh, sir, you are more than just a bell ringer. You are a savior. You're a war hero." And he is, for the most part, he's pretty starstruck. He was not expecting to meet such a person of your caliber. And he says, "Yes, well, Mr. the Ringer, if you don't mind, would you kindly surrender your magical weapons and gear? We'll place it in one of these crates, slap your name on it, make sure it gets to you once you're beyond the castle walls, and yeah, and then just hold your arms out to each side of you and let my guys check you for more stuff." Do you comply?
So I get this back when I go inside or when I leave again?
Well, I don't quite know how long your stay is gonna be, so if you go right inside and then leave, I mean, I assume you would get it when you would leave, but I'm assuming you're here for the party. Everyone that's come through is actually here for the party, duh, silly me. They will be sent to your quarters, so once, I don't know when you're going to get to your quarters, so I'm not quite sure when you would get your gear back, but I'm assuming that once you get there, they will be there, and if they are not there, you come find, let Sebas know, or come find me, and I will get you your stuff straight away, Mr. Bellringer.
Okay, good deal. No, I was just I don't like to be unprepared for situations, and yeah, I like to have my equipment. So yeah, this would be no problem.
He says, "Believe
Puts
me,
his
sir,
hammer
I
in-
complete." Go ahead. He puts his hammer and
puts his
stuff in the
hammer in
box.
he goes to put his amulet in the box and says, "Can I keep this one on me?"
uh, he looks at you, and then he kind of looks at one of his boys in the robes, and he kind of nods his head to come over, and they run their little paddle over, and is your amulet like magic in nature? Does it contain any kind of magic or anything like that?
It is the amulet of health. So
Okay.
yes, it is. It is a magical amulet.
So this amulet goes off, or this amulet sets off the paddles, and he looks at you and he's like, say, what 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 does this here amulet do that you got that you want to keep so badly? And he kind of looks at you like, what kind of secrets do you got, Mr. Dwarf?
Excuse me.
Do you tell him?
Um,
You don't have to tell him the truth. You can lie to him too. You know, it doesn't. They just all they know is that this amulet is magic and it's powerful, and they're concerned.
okay. He's no, it's just an amulet of the god I serve. Of course, I picked the most ridiculous name. Gobenu, the god Gobenu,
Gobnu.
and it just grants me a little extra. You know, it helps me feel a little better, and it grants me a little bit of protection from things that may want to do me harm. I just like to keep it on me, mostly because it's got to do with the god that I serve.
Oh, okay. I see a man. Very dedicated. Yeah. He says, "I see no harm in that." He lets you keep the amulet. So,
Much.
uh, do you hold your arms out and let them run their paddles over you and stuff? All right, so they give you the little airport security bit and check you, and of course, like all of your your belt with the metal buckler, it sets it off, and they're kind of curious about that, and you're like, it's just a belt, and they finish up and they let you. He's about to let you go through, and he's kind of wary about you. He he looks. Actually, give me a perception check.
Perception check.
Actually, I take that back. Give me an insight check.
Insight check. That is a 13.
An 18.
13.
Oh, a
My
13.
bad rolls
Okay.
have already begun.
So as you walk by to approach the gate, you kind of catch a glimpse of him almost staring at you, and he's got what you can best determine as like a worried look in his eye. He looks concerned about something, and he's more or less just kind of like staring you down. And he doesn't make a scene. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't try to stop you. He just kind of turns his attention back to the clipboard or to the board with papers on it, and he makes like a big swoosh on the board, and it's you can tell that he basically checked your name off. And you approach the gate, and you feel your amulet start to, it's almost like it starts to heat up, like the amulet is kind of having a negative reaction. And I would like for you to roll a perception and an arcana check.
Perception and arcana. So perception first.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. 15. And then arcana. That is a nat 20 for 22.
Holy snot buckets. Okay, so with a 15 in perception, as you approach the gate, you notice that you kind of like Quex, you notice that there's almost like a shimmering, like on a like in the real world on a hot day on the road where you can see the heat waves coming off of the asphalt. You see almost like a glistening of the air, and it's kind of odd, but maybe you think it's a trick of the eye. But then the moment that you try to pass through the gate, you you feel almost like a grip on your amulet, and it for a moment it is insanely hot. It feels like it's gonna burn through straight through your body, and you you know that what you thought you saw as a shimmering of the air is actually very powerful magic reacting to your amulet, and it's got something to do with that shimmering air, and you feel pretty much the barrier react to you in full force, and it tries to stop you, and it tries harder than it did with um Sword, and it tries harder than it did with Quex. um do you try to struggle against it, or do you stop?
Excuse me. I'll stop for a minute and turn back and say, "Is this normal?"
Do you relay like what the amulet feels like?
Yeah, if it's not somehow like outwardly glowing, or if it's not
No, like
easily
it
seen by
actually
someone else and
looks.
it's hot.
You look down and like you feel that it's it's just kind of, it's almost like it's in your head. This
Oh,
amulet's
okay.
gaslighting you.
All right. Yeah, so I'll relay to back to head guard bard dude. Like, hey, I don't think this thing wants me to take my amulet in, but I really want to take my amulet in.
He
Gonna go ahead and push through. Is this gonna be a bad deal?
he said, "Man, honestly, I didn't think it would make a big fuss about your amulet. Maybe I don't know what. Maybe the creator of this amulet and your gods got beef or something. I don't know." He said, "Man, you can try. If it starts to hurt you, I'd almost just take it off. We have a way of getting stuff past this barrier, but we're the guards of the castle, so we obviously are not against the king, and we can take stuff in and out no problem through some very specific and special methods. So if it doesn't work out, we can always take it up with the rest of your stuff. What do you want to do?"
All right, I'll go ahead and try to push through.
Okay, give me, let's see. I want to say make a Constitution saving throw.
Constitution saving throw. That is an 11.
Okay. Yeah, so you attempt to push through this barrier and you feel that sensation again. You feel like your amulet is suddenly turned into a molten piece of metal, and it almost feels like your soul is going to burn from the inside out. And you take a couple of steps further in, and it almost feels like it intensifies, but as you take that third step in, it immediately stops. It stops. You feel fine. Your amulet's not burning you from the inside out anymore. It's you look down, and your amulet is, it's not doing anything. It's just there, like it always has been, like it always will be. Your amulet, it it it's almost like your amulet was begging you not to go past this barrier. And well, you made it. You made it through, and you walk on and you continue and you meet Sebas, and Sebas greets you and he says, "Ah, yes, the hero of Cathors. It's nice to meet you."
You as well. What's your name?
My name is Sebas. I am the head butler of this estate, and with the gang all here, I will take you to meet the king post haste. And he gestures for all of you to follow him.
Okay.
Do
We'll follow.
do you comply?
Yeah.
Indeed.
Zord kind of has to push Pretty off of her lap because Pretty was taking a nice little nap, and is like, "Ugh." And then she stands up, dusts the glitter off of her lap, and then follows behind the butler.
Okay.
And, Burn for all real quick as he sees all that says, "You made all the glitter?"
Zord just glances at him, like, takes him in, and then just kind of nods her head at Pretty, and then that's all.
Question, Pab. Are we all just together now?
Yes, everyone is. You guys are officially together as a party right now.
Lex instantly looks at the pony, not caring about the other person that was right next to it. You are a perfect gift for my daughter.
Izord takes one of her hand axes and immediately holds it to his throat.
Now
Pretty.
that
Pretty mine.
I can see that very clearly. However, I don't really recommend putting an axe on my throat. Quex just levitates. I mean, not levitates. He pulls out his hand in a palm formation. Now, let's quietly not use our weapons.
Sebas looks back and sees all this that's going on. Actually, Z, would you like to? Are you gonna do anything? Would you like to do something?
Uh, so Burnthal will kind of walk up and says, whoa, what seems to be the problem?
Izord, without looking away from Quex, goes, Pretty mine.
Okay, and then Burnthal will look at, because your character's name is Quex?
Yes.
All right, look at Quex and is like, you trying to take her horse right now?
In full honesty, I really did not think it was hers.
All right, so sounds
And
like
then
we
Pretty
don't
goes,
have a
I've
problem.
been sitting in her lap this whole time. What? And it just
Oh.
resounds in everyone's head.
Sebas is very surprised, and he kind of exclaims, "By the gods, you can talk!"
Yes,
Now
I can
that's the
talk.
first.
I am Izord's translator. She doesn't do well with words, okay?
I can clearly see that.
Yeah, Burnthal is just kind of like, his mouth is open a little bit, looking at he was just like, oh, I did not expect this in the slightest. This will be an interesting stay.
Sebas looks back and says, "Now, if you're all quite done grab ass, and we have a king to meet. Please follow me." And he gestures for you to kind of fall in line behind him.
Izord doesn't
All right.
move, and she's waiting for Quex to be like, yeah, no, I'm going to leave Pretty alone.
Quex just follows Sebas, but also looking back at Pretty and like, I'm gonna get you.
Quest
He
is gonna
just
die
looks
before
back
the
at
evening's over. Just saying.
probably. He doesn't care. He wants a present for his daughter.
Dude.
Sebas, wanting to defuse the situation, he relays that they are here to be honored and that the king is a very wealthy man and he is a man of many resources, and more than likely the king will be able to procure anything that you might want. And he kind of reminds Quex that that we're all part of the same team, and that to please try to have a good time, and etc. And he he walks up to a door, and it looks like a door to like someone's house. And he walks up to the door and he opens it and he walks through and he disappears. Do you follow him?
Yes, I completely do follow.
Berthrall will walk through last.
Okay. Isor.
Is Zord will tentatively walk through while keeping
Okay.
her hand on top of Pretty's head, because she does not trust Quex at all and already is planning his demise.
Oh no. So everyone walks through this doorway.
Okay.
All right. You walk through and it's almost like you enter like a long dark hallway. And you can't see anything in front of you, you can't see anything behind you. And very abruptly, you see a doorway shaped light, and like it's like you take like 4 or 5 steps and then you see this light, and you it's like it's almost like you didn't take any steps at all, and you immediately come out of the doorway again, and this time you're standing in front of these great big oak double doors. They're like fucking 15 feet in the air. They're ginormous. Sebas says, "We have arrived at the throne room. I remind you, please be on your best behavior. You are, after all, in the presence of the king." And do any of you want to say anything to Sebas, or look? Do you want to look behind or anything?
Nah.
Quax is just like ready to fight because he doesn't like Dark very well.
Bernthrall, are you good? You want to meet the king?
Yeah, Berthrall just kind of nods and like
All right. Sebas,
acknowledges.
okay. Sebas puts his hand on both of the doors and he kind of just gives almost like a very, very gentle push to them, and they glide open. And in front of you, you see basically a very long it's almost like a hall, and not like a hall that you like a hallway, but like a hall, like a place where people gather. And there you look all over the walls. Everything is gilded in gold. The curtains are fucking gold. The floor is gold. There's statues, pillars and stuff that are all gold trim. But what you notice is that all along the walls there's just trophies, heads, bodies, whole monsters mounted and stuffed, and they just line the entire room. It is full of shit. There's just so much crap in this room, all over the walls. Um, any of you, I would like for you to make a perception check.
Okie dokie.
Hmm. 22.
Oof, duh.
I get a plus 10 to my perception.
23.
Jesus.
I have rolled a 23.
Okay.
As have I.
Okay. So all of you actually notice that there are glyphs, magical glyphs, magical symbols, also on the floors, on the walls. You notice a very, very, very large glyph on the floor in the center of the entire room, and on the walls directly to the east, west, north, and north of this glyph, there's not quite as large, but also bigger than the other glyphs on these walls as well. And there's kind of like decorations and stuff that kind of try to like not necessarily hide it, but accent it. Almost like these glyphs are probably some of the most important things in this room. I'd also like for you to make an Arcana check. Any of you, whoever would like to.
17 for Izord.
Okay.
Or do I also do Arcana check?
If you want to.
Yeah, sure. 27.
Good God Almighty. Is that a nat 20?
Oh no, it's 19 plus 8.
Okay. Z or Burnthal?
Got a
Burnthal?
10.
Okay.
And
So, Burnthal, you don't really know what these glyphs exactly are. Quex, you know that the glyph the glyphs on the glyph on the floor is, you recognize it as the glyph of truth, a glyph for truth. This glyph is, it just emanates power. It's almost, it fills the room so heavily with magic power that it's almost suffocating for you. And Isord, you notice that on top of the glyph in the center of the room is for truth. You notice that the glyphs to the north, east, and west of it, the bigger ones, are for infinity and time. Essentially, Isord knows that this room is a room of truth. It's a room with the spell Zone of Truth cast on it, and the other glyphs on the wall make it so that the spell never ends. In the presence of this room, in the throne room with the king, you cannot lie whatsoever. Do you guys want to approach the king? Do you want to look at some other stuff, or what do you want to do?
Izord walks forward with Pretty, and stands in like the center where they're like expected to stop, and gives a very respectful kind of half bow, just a little bend at the knee and a nod of the head. Pretty does the same, does like the cutest little pony bow ever. And then like shivers glitter everywhere on the glyphs,
It's like
makes them sparkle.
them horses, the horses at the show.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
I'm thinking of the horses at the horse shows where they like kind of like do that thing where they like drag their paw because or their foot because they're trying to bow, but they're animals. They
Yep.
don't really bow.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
And then just stands in
Okay.
in
nice.
respectful reverence to the king.
Bernthal. What about you?
Bernthrall will approach, the designated spot with the group, and we'll just kind of look toward. I've already forgotten his name. What's his face? To kind of await either, what some indication of what the custom is. Either it's a bow, or do we get all the way down on our knees and like lay our head on the floor for a second, or
Are you talking about the
whatever
king or
the
Sebas?
appropriate action. Sebas. So Bertrand was looking for some indication from Sebas as to what the proper action would be at that point.
Give me a perception check.
Perception check. 14.
Okay, so Sebas is not there, or at least you can't see him. You don't notice where he might be or where he is. You've lost sight of Sebas, so you can guess at the custom. You can look at the king and see if he kind of gives you a hint. Whatever you want to do.
I'll just do what Bernthrall was raised to do and place a hand kind of over his chest where the amulet sits, and then take a short bow forward.
Okay. Quex?
Hold on, my lights are flickering. Hold on.
Oh no. It's the ghost.
Frank?
It's Frank.
I think the power's about to go out.
No.
I hope the power doesn't go out.
Frank, go back home.
Okay.
Big on Perot needs you.
leave Mika alone.
Oh Lord.
Don't be taking any
And
road trips
why?
without us, Frank.
Oh God. Okay. Quex just looks around dumbfounded. And also a little bit queasy because he doesn't like the pressure on this room. He just waves at the Majesty as soon as he walks to where the other two are at.
He just waves at him.
Like a very like a princess wave, or is it like kind of like a very open-handed Forrest Gump wave?
Open-handed. X has no formalities. He does not believe in that.
Yeah,
Hell
because he's
yeah.
trying to steal
So
someone else's
the king
pony.
Plus, he lives in a town far away.
the king gets up out of his chair and out of his office throne, and he gets up off his king's ass, and he looks at Quex, and he actually returns the very open-handed wave, and he's like, "My friends, dispose of these formalities, for you are my honored guests, and welcome to the kingdom of Washington." And he says, "I am King Reginald Gigas Aurelian. You may call me Reggie." And he gestures to his what?
You may call me Reggie. I'm just.
You may call me Reggie. He is King Reggie Gigas, if you will.
I love it.
His he gestures to his left, and he gestures to his left at the queen, his wife, and he says, "My wife Catherine," and she kind of gives like a little, pleasant queen bow. She kind of dips her head down. And to his right, he says, "And the prince, heir to the throne, Reginald Brock. You may also call him Reggie as well. Reggie Rock, if you will." And he oh my, I forgot. CD freaking CD. So in my notes, I actually wrote a whole bit for CD's character because of what his character possessed on him and stuff, and
Oh, that's right.
I forgot about that, which was gonna play it was supposed to introduce an item, but Oh well. Okay. So he says to you, he says, "Welcome. I hope you enjoy yourselves. Do you understand why you're here?" And he gestures to all of you. Anyone may answer.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna take the silence as a no.
Bernthal, I was getting a drink. Bernthal will reply and say, entirely, Reggie, but I'm not about to turn down an invitation from a king, so here I am.
He says, "So yes, I invited you all for this gala," and he kind of does air quotes in the air. He's very nonchalant about the gala. He doesn't seem very excited about it. He 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 almost is kind of disappointed. He thought you might know more, but apparently you do not. Uh, let's see. God, CD, man, you really screwed me on this one. Uh,
Smoothly.
well, I can't tell you because he said I okay. So the king looks he looks very tired. He says I invited you here for this gala, and he kind of does the air quotes, and he says that I want you all here because I I actually would like extra protection. And who better to protect me than the most powerful adventurers in all of the lands? And he kind of gestures towards all of you.
Protection from
It's
what?
like,
He's like, "From what? A very good question. I do not know." he says he says that I don't. This is very hard and very difficult to explain, but I know something bad will happen to me tonight, and I just kind of don't know when or how. Um, I'm not exactly sure what method is going to happen. He said if I had to guess, though, he said I would assume that they're probably after this, and he kind of puts his hands around his crown, and he gestures towards it.
is there something special about it?
Um, Quex, give me a perception or an arcana check. You decide.
Uh,
Uh,
okay.
is Zord also do a perception check?
Yeah.
16. Got a 16,
Uh,
good sir.
21
What did you do?
for
Perception.
Both of you did perception.
Yes.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
Quex, the king's crown looks like extremely old. Like it's very noticeably worn and weathered. It looks as if maintenance has never been performed on this crown ever, and it 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 just it looks like it's gonna fall apart at any given moment. The crown itself is just it's not even shiny. It's dulled. It's got patina on it. It's um a lot of the jewels on the crown are like either cracked or missing pieces. Parts of them are falling out. But the jewel in the very center of the crown, um, it seems like it's in perfect condition. Um, a sword, you know what that jewel is. It is a dragon heart. This jewel can only be received after this jewel can only be procured from killing a dragon. And it's essentially something that you harvest from a dead dragon. And this jewel is exceedingly large. Like it is bigger than your fist. And you have a very large fist, I would assume. It's huge.
So Izord looks down
Like,
at
is your
Pretty and kind of, has a little silent conversation and feels Pretty in on, what that is. So Pretty to just the king, and no one else can hear what Pretty's saying. So someone's after your dragon heart? Question mark. You can reply in your head.
And he looks at his sword and then he looks at his sword and then he looks at Pretty and he looks back at his sword and then looks back at Pretty and he kind of like he points at Pretty like are you talking to me? Like he kind of like gives her that like are you. And even though like Pretty is communicating telepathically and he's thinking are you talking to me? I'm assuming Pretty answers yes in his
Yeah,
head.
yeah, yeah, with a bob of her
Okay.
head at the
So
same time. Yes.
okay. So he is like, "Oh, you're very perceptive for oh my. I haven't seen one of you in ages. Or you might be the very last of your kind actually." Um he tells Pretty that not very many people know what is in the center of his crown and that he is very impressed and surprised that he thinks Pretty is the one who knows.
Yeah.
He assumes that Pretty is the one with she's the one that gleamed that it's a dragon heart.
Yeah, and then Pretty just like rubs like a cat up against Izord's leg and was like, Izord is so smart.
Ah, yes. The ice
Oh,
touch. Go ahead.
as this is happening, Quack is just like sitting down crisscross applesauce style. He's just perplexed, like, it's just a raggedy crown.
um do you say that out loud?
Yeah, he's mumbling, but he's saying it very out loud.
So he looks over at you and he's like, "Oh my boy, but it is more than just a raggedy old crown." And he kind of has like a crazy look in his eye. And he tells you that with the crown has been in his family for generations. Generations and generations, and even household legend says that this crown is actually the very first crown that was ever given to the first king of Washington, and that the crown is passed down from king to king with very specific instructions stating that the crown should never be modified in any way at all. I would like for you to roll insight. Actually, as he's saying this out loud, I would like for Pretty to roll for. Let's see if she has a stat for that. What's insight? Wisdom?
Wisdom. Yeah, Pretty
Yeah.
is
Make
an
an insight check using Pretty's stats.
Okay. Let me roll. 20 roll. Oh god, that's a 19 plus 22.
Oh my. Okay. Pretty notices that the king is kind of hiding something about the crown. It's more everything he said is the truth because you can't lie in the throne room. You have to tell the truth. But he's not telling you the whole truth. And I guess do with that information what you will. You can ask him about it. You can try to try to pry what he knows out of it, but
Okay, so again, pretty with just between her, Izord, and the king. No one else can hear. What are you hiding? And then she just turns her head sideways and just looks like the cutest little thing ever. I guess in like a persuasion. So like it's just is trying to
she
like persuade the king to be like, tell me, because I'm adorable.
he he looks back at Pretty and he kind of like he melts a little bit, but he regains his composure and he's like, so part of the instructions say that we aren't supposed to modify the crown because it might undo the seals.
Hmm.
And that's all he says.
Okay. Just store that
No.
information for
While
later.
all this is going on,
No more questions.
What seals?
More questionnaire.
He says he honestly doesn't know what they're for. It's his dad told him, and his grandfather told his dad before that, and his great grandfather told his grandfather, who told his father, who told him before that. And he said that every time they just say, "Don't mess with the crown, or you might undo the seals." And he's asked what the seals are about, but he doesn't. He doesn't know. He doesn't. He. It's almost like. It's almost like he. It's almost like he didn't know they existed in the first place. And he says that honestly in his opinion he believes that it's just family superstition, and he feels that if anything were to happen to the crown, that he feels like it would be like uh it would be like the end of a dynasty. It's a testament to the age of his family's lineage, and he believes that if the crown were ever taken from him or destroyed or modified or anything like that, that it basically would spell the end for his family. But you without a shadow of a doubt know that there are seals on this dragon heart, and he says he doesn't know, and because they're in the throne room of truth, that he can't lie, so he is telling the truth as full to the fullest of his capabilities. He does not know what those seals are for or what they are sealing.
Hmm. So Izord also wants to look around now that he's like, ooh, you may be the last of your kind. That's just kind of like sitting with her because Izord is like, Pretty is my best friend. I can't lose Pretty. Wants to make just a very random investigation check, I guess, to see if there are any other unicorns on the wall.
Okay, make a check.
Okay.
Lord. My lord.
Oh no, a 2.
Okay.
I guess it
You
is
look
a
around and there's a bunch of shit in this room. There's so much stuff. There's so many animals. There's so many monsters. There's so much stuff. Just he none of you has asked him about any of the stuff in the room, right? No one's
Mm-mm.
actually said, "Hey, what's with all this crap in the room?" Okay. So yeah, there's so much stuff, and there's so much, like, it's almost too hard for you to take it all in. Like, every time you look at something and try to focus on it, there's something else that, like, kind of takes your attention. And then you look at that and something else takes your attention, and you see all kinds of monsters and shit all over the walls and stuffed and stood up and whatnot. And yeah, you
So
don't notice that there's anything unicorn there.
okay, so Izord kind of takes her finger and like gestures at everything around and goes, games, and then looks back at the king.
The king looks at a sword and he says, "Oh, my trophies. Yes, actually every single thing that you see in my throne room has been hunted and brought back by me." And he points to himself and kind of like a fanciful gesture, as like he is very proud of this. He then tells you that he used to be a monster hunter himself, and that he that's part of the reason why he wanted to invite monster hunters in particular was because he was also once a monster hunter, and that part of the gala is not only for him to try to sneak y'all in for some extra beefy security, but also to announce his retirement. He is giving up the hunting life, and he feels like he's hunted everything that he could possibly want to hunt, and he just doesn't. He's getting old, and he kind of just wants to stop. And um, yeah, he tells you that everything that you see in this room has been felled by his hand, by his sword, and that he's hunted everything. That all of this is a product of his doing. The king, when he tells you this, he the king looks almost like he's glowing. He just he's standing there in his robes, and he's gesturing at all of the monsters and shit on his wall, and he just oozes power. The king, like you finally, like, you break away from the whole scene of meeting the king, and you come to the realization that this is the very, very powerful man, not just in status but in ability.
What does the son and the wife look like as the king is gushing on and on about his ability?
Um, his wife is just actually, yeah. His wife is just kind of, she's sitting there. She's more or less a figurehead. She's a queen for the sake of being a queen. She's very pretty and very dainty, and she but you look at her, and you see, like, the entire time she's never taken her eyes off of the king. He 100% and fully has her attention, always has had her attention, and will always keep her attention for the rest of her life. She has nothing but the utmost love for him. The prince, I would like for you to make a perception check.
Please be high. Please be high. Hell yeah, 26.
Rolls on that one.
The prince
He rolled a
does
nat
not.
one. Sorry, go ahead.
Who rolled in that one? Quex?
Mm,
Quex, you start having a fit and throw yourself out the window.
Oh my god.
bet.
No, I'm kidding. You that doesn't happen. No. To Quex, he is 1,000% oblivious to anything that's happening in this room, because his eyes are fixed on Pretty, and he cannot stop staring at her.
Oh no.
Actually, he's actually just fixated on the monsters.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Are you lost in the sea of monsters? That's basically his throne room.
He's trying to find he's trying to find the basilisk. He's trying to find.
Oh, okay. I'm sure if you look hard enough, there's probably one of those in there somewhere. On the other hand, a sword, you look at the prince, and he doesn't share the same air as the king. It's almost like he kind of, I mean, he looks like him. He resembles him, but he doesn't have that. I don't know. He just doesn't have that same presence. He doesn't look very charismatic. He doesn't. He's there without being there. He's almost like an NPC that's faded into the background. Very, very unimportant.
So
Mm.
is the
Quack
king?
actually,
Sorry, go ahead, Mika.
I will say, if Quex actually did succeed on a saving throw, he would have said, "Tiny manservant."
You need a manservant.
Yeah, when I look at the prince, like tiny Manthur.
Oh. No, he's not. He is very much a prince, and he looks. He is the spitting image of his father. He just doesn't have that je ne sais quoi, if you will, about him. He doesn't feel like a prince. He looks like a prince. He looks like the king. He just doesn't feel like a prince. He doesn't feel like royalty. He's just kind of there.
Nightmare.
But there's no like animosity that's like seething out of him as his dad is like waxing on and on and on about his own greatness. He's just black.
He more or less is. I mean, he's kind of empty-headed. He doesn't give off like spoiled rich kid vibes, but he at the same time he doesn't look like he doesn't look like he cares to be there. Like he's just kind of just hanging out and chilling. Like he doesn't really feel one way or the other, I guess you could say, about anything. He's very much just kind of hanging out in the background. He doesn't draw attention to himself. He doesn't join in on his dad's ramblings. He doesn't try to talk to his mother. He's just kind of there.
Mm.
He's
Okay.
not oozing malice or anything like that. He's just more or less taking up space.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie. Um, Bellringer. Frick, I can't remember your first name. Bernthal.
Bell Ringer. Oh Lord.
Bernie.
Bernthal. Bernie.
Ernie?
Would you
Bernie?
care to make a gesture or say anything or ask a question or perform an action?
So if I'm tracking so far, the conversation about the Dragonheart burn thrall is not privy to,
Nope.
and he's not picking up on much of the vibes because one of the perception checks I rolled with, even though I didn't announce it, was really low. Really
Okay.
low.
I would assume that you are also just enamored with all of it. Maybe not enamored, but distracted by all the crap that he's got on the walls and in the all in the around the room.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
no, you're not privy to that information. I will say that while these conversations were happening, that nah, I don't think so. I don't think you would have like. You know what? Why don't you make me an Arcana check?
Okay. More opportunity for a crappy roll.
I'm trying to get you to redeem yourself for once. Heart of the
Ooh,
cards.
It's a 10.
Oh, okay.
Crazy. Pretty good.
I mean, hell yeah,
Most
10.
I'm just literally rolling.
Just enough for me to give you some information.
Right on.
So, as you're perusing the king's trophies and looking at this and that and looking, you're 1 second you're looking at a chimera and the next second you're looking at, a giant crocodile, and the next second there's like squirrels in like little army uniforms and they're kind of posed in a way like they're leading a charge. And you feel like your amulet is like trying to not necessarily warn you, but like your amulet is starting to feel warm. It starts to get warm, and you feel it get warm, and you kind of look around. You look around to try to figure out like what your amulet is reacting to, and the moment that your eyes lock in on the jewel in the center of the king's crown with the seals on it, it stops immediately. You don't know what it means, but that happens.
Okay. Um. I think Bernthal at that point would. Excuse me.
Like
Quiet.
you can ask the king about what just happened to you.
Yeah, that's
and-
what I was about to do.
Okay.
Yeah, but I had a little burp need to happen,
Oh,
so I tried to do it
sorry.
quietly.
Like I can't tell if you're cutting out because of the internet or if you're doing man stuff. One or the other.
Yeah, that time it was family stuff, I suppose. But yeah, so Bernthal would be probably curious about what that sensation was and what the meaning is, and approach the king again and say,
Do you
he's,
do you pull
he's
him to
very
the
upfront
side?
about everything.
Do you pull him to the side and try to kind of like ask him as an aside, or do you just kind of walk up to him and just be like, "Hey, what's with the big fucking rock in your head?"
No, I probably just kind of walk up to him and be like, "Hey, had a weird thing happened with my amulet just now. It's feeling kind of strange. Then I looked at your crown and it went away. Have any idea why that would be? What is there something special about your crown?"
Oh, let me see your amulet.
Right, and so Bernthal will just kind of like grab it and not necessarily take it off of his person, but like hold it up so that being a rather short individual, being a dwarf, King can get a much better view of what is on the amulet. The sigil.
So you don't want to take it off and like hold it out to him.
Right, I'm gonna show him the amulet, but I'm not gonna hand him the amulet.
The king snaps his fingers, and Sebas, almost like he walks, he appears from like directly behind the king, and he says, "Yes, sir." And he says, "Sebas, where's that thing that oh, you got it after I sent you to that school. The monocle, the eye. Yes, the eye. Sebas, I need your eye." And Sebas says, "Yes, sir, right away, sir." And he disappears behind the king and reappears on the other side of him. And he says, "My eye, your majesty." And he holds out a pillow, and it's got a monocle. And sitting in the center of it. And he picks up the monocle and he holds it up to his eye and he kind of adjusts the lens on it. And you can make a perception or an arcana check if you would like to know about this monocle. If not, he's just gonna do his thing.
Roll a perception check and see how bad it is.
See how
It's
good
a
it is.
14.
Hey, that ain't bad. That ain't bad.
It's getting higher. Getting higher.
For perspective here, I have a plus 11 to my perception.
Good God. Ugh. That's a lot. That's a lot of mojo right there. So
It's a lot of little rolls.
with a 14, you notice that as he's kind of like adjusting this monocle to his eye, you can see like little magical sigils and glyphs kind of blinking in and out of the monocle's lens, and you can tell that this monocle is some kind of like inspection device. And the king kind of bends down and adjusts the monocle and looks at your amulet, and he says, "Oh yes, I recognize." He says, "I recognize the god that you serve, but I don't remember the name of your god."
I don't either,
I
actually.
should have wrote it
Wait,
down.
did you just say
So
I
he-
don't either?
Yeah.
I don't either.
We're just gonna be like, "Yes, I recognize the god that you serve," and you're like, "Yes, my god."
Yep, God
Yes.
that I
Yes,
serve.
that person.
That guy, yeah, sure.
Oh,
Guy
yeah.
I met in the elementary.
He says that if I had to guess, your god is probably just trying to give you some kind of warning or indication to my crown. And he kind of gestures up at his head, and you see this just massive, big old rock just sitting in the center of his crown. And he says, yeah, a lot of the gods do not like, for whatever reason, this thing on my head. I don't understand it. I don't know why. They're very particular about it. We don't get a lot of clerics here, to be honest, and I think that's part of the reason why we don't get a lot of clerics is because this thing just drives them all away. And he kind of feels a little exasperated about it because it almost seems like he wants clerics, but he can't ever get clerics. And he he says that the the rock in his crown has a number of seals on it, and what they seal he does not know. And he said if he had to guess that your amulet is just a way that your god is trying to make you not necessarily warn you, but maybe alert you to what the presence of my crown. He said, but that's just a guess. I'm not no magic man. I prefer to deal with things the old-fashioned way with muscle and steel, if you know what I mean.
Okay, well, interesting. I'm rather curious about your crown now. But if you feel you need protection, especially this evening, I'm happy to help however I can. Sire.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Now, you guys I'm probably overthinking things. I'm probably just a little nervous about this gala. I don't really do galas. I don't really care for the parties and the social gatherings of such a caliber, and I personally would have rather have kept this engagement small, but and he kind of nods towards his wife. She's got to have the pomp and circumstance, and happy wife, happy life. You know what I mean? And he kind of nudges you with his elbow.
And I'll just say, no, I don't know.
Oh, he said, "Oh well." He says, "Oh well, one day, son, you might know, and if
So
you do, if
is
if you ever do procure, if you ever do,
Oh
if you
lord.
ever do, just remember my words. Remember the wisdom of this king. Happy, happy wife, happy life."
so
And
is Zord like while this exchange is happening, is Zord just kind of turns away and tries to hide the small smirk on her face because she's like,
While this is
no,
happening, you just hear a burst of laughter with Quex. Not even trying to hide it.
yeah.
oh no. Um, he tells you to relax and enjoy yourselves tonight. He says that while considering now being on the clock, that he will reward you handsomely with whatever and however much gold that you want, and whatever other items or things that you might want from him that he could possibly get. He's a man of incredible resources and influence, and all they need is to ask. And it's but the least he could do for them coming all this way to to attend his gala. And yeah, he dismisses you, and he calls Sebas and says, Sebas, why don't you show them to their quarters if you don't mind? And yeah. So at this point, I don't know if you've used spell slots or anything like that, but you can take a short or long rest if you need it.
Question: before we leave the area, can I just like wave goodbye at him, like goodbye?
Oh yeah, he 10,000% like waves with just as much energy back at you. He is so ecstatic that the king is. You can tell that the king is not like he he is he was at home in the field, and he doesn't like all of the formalities and all of the the stuff that comes with being the king. Everyone's so formal to him. Everyone's so very yes, your majesty, no, your majesty type of, and it's refreshing to him to see someone that just kind of, treats him like a normal person.
Yeah.
So you can, if you gave up your gear, the gear's now returned to you. You can equip whatever you want to equip. All of your items should be back in whatever shape you left them. No trickery here. I didn't put, packets of spiders on it or anything like that. You just
Instant curse death.
yeah, I didn't give you cursed shit back. This normal stuff that you had, it's all returned to you.
Oh no!
Whether you want to wear it or not. And I would assume that you arrived in the morning and the gala is going to be that night. So if you want to take a rest or blah blah blah, you may do so now, and if not, we will move on to the next point.
Forever hold your peace.
Ready to go.
I would also like to okay.
Wait.
I was also going to ask if anyone needed to take a bathroom break or, get something to drink or snacks or whatever. We can stop now. If not, we'll keep going.
I can go grab
I
some
would like
snacks.
to brew a cup of coffee.
Peace. Break time.
All right, let me switch to quick break, and we be right back, yo.
Bring help, got this. Sudden help.
Oh my gosh. Let's go.
So do you guys get dressed up for this gala or just kind of show up in all your shit and all your gear, like
Actually,
full adventures gear?
Quack still in like formal clothing.
Okay, fair enough. You're a monk.
He is a monk. Simplicity is his best.
Yeah.
What about same for you?
So
Z?
Izord does Z, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
I'm looking through like my items and stuff to see what I actually have. I feel like if I don't wear my armor, I'll be showing up in my underwear.
That's fine too. I mean, your adventurers after all. I mean, I wouldn't expect you to carry, extra stuff, I guess.
Yeah, unless they've got like stuff waiting for me. I would, if it was a formal event and there was clothing provided, Bernthrall would put that on and wear it.
I'm sure you could ask Sebas for, fancy clothes if you want, and he'd probably be like, yeah, right away, and he'd come back like in 3 seconds and give you like a very special tailored suit to you. Fits you perfect, just right in all the right ways. It makes you look so extremely dapper. He summons like an army of maids to come and like fix your beard up and hair and shit, and makes you look all dapper.
All right. Well, yes, then Bernthrall will do that.
Okay, so Sebas does that. You summon you you just kind of call out. Kind of just call out and say, like you don't really know how to get his attention, so you just kind of say his name out and like, Sebas, are you there? And you turn around and he's just kind of already standing there. He's like, yes, sir, Mr. Bellringer. What can I do for you?
I get some kind of a cloak, vest, maybe a jacket and some trousers for the gala this evening. All I've got is my armor and my underwear, and I feel like neither is appropriate.
Why, of course, young master, we can accommodate you perfectly. And he looks at you and he pulls out that monocle and he puts it to his eye and he adjusts it a little bit and just kind of looks you up and down and puts it back in his pocket and he says, "One moment, good sir." And he turns around, walks to the closet, opens the door, walks in, closes the door, and he walks back out and he has clothes in his hand, and they look, I mean, they look like they'd fit. And he hands them to you, and he's like, "I had these specially made in case you wanted to wanted to dress up for the occasion." He said, "Please try them on and see if they fit."
Okay. Thrall will go ahead and try them on. What what do the clothes look like? Out of curiosity.
They look like it's a very fancy tuxedo like almost garment. It has like kind of like long tails. It almost looks like you're like a conductor of a band. Um super duper fancy like kind of like something like a pianist would wear to like a concerto or something. It's almost it's very similar to what he is wearing, but his is kind of plain and very generic looking, whereas yours looks like it's got embroidery all over it. It's got pinstriping and swirls in it. It's got little bits of gold trim here and there, and it is by far way more expensive and fancy than what he's wearing.
Gotcha. Right,
So
cool.
you
Yeah, Bernthal tries that on, and I assume it fits just perfectly.
it fits like a freaking glove. It's almost like a second suit, a second skin to you. It it is very it's actually very it feels very flexible, and it feels very it's form fitting, but at the same time you retain all of your mobility. And he kind of whispers to you, he said, "I had it specially enchanted for you so you wouldn't feel unprotected." And you you kind of your amulet not necessarily warms to the touch, but it kind of vibrates as if almost in agreement with what he said to you. And your fancy clothes, it would be the same as wearing your plate. You
Oh,
feel
sweet.
you feel extremely invincible right now. And
All right.
he says, "Oh, but we can't have you going out there looking like that." And he kind of gestures to your face, and he claps his hands together. And into your room, uh, a young, a
Bernthal is
young,
kind of just like his face is like, what? Like looking like, what?
into the,
Wrong with the
he,
face type of face.
he claps his hands, and into the room comes a young lady, and she was like, "Yes, sir, Mr. Sebas." And he says, "Yes, please do something with this." And he kind of gestures like kind of haphazardly towards you, like you in general, not just your face. And she says, right away, my lord." And she closes the door, and then the doors burst open, and like 16 maids come in, and they have brushes. Like four of them are carrying a tub full of water.
Oh,
Um,
Lord.
they have a chair. They sit you down. They
Getting the
wash your
royal
hair.
treatment.
They comb out your beard and your hair, and there's probably years and years and years of dirt and crap in your beard and stuff. And
Mhm.
they run you through the fucking gauntlet. And when they get done, it's almost like a cartoon where there's so many people working on you. It's just like a blur of body parts and arms and legs and girls and you and hair, and they get done, and
Like
they
that
say,
scene
"May I
from
present to you?"
Mulan. It's like, and
Yeah.
sisters, hear my plea.
Oh, Lord.
When they get done, they say, "Lord Sebas, may I present the Lord Bernthal, the bell ringer." And they step aside, and you are just decked to the nines, my guy. You look so fucking good. Like it is insane how good you look right now, how well they took care of you. You've never felt so much better. And from this point on, I would like you to add a +2 to anything that has to do with charisma.
Ooh.
Right on. Let me
Ooh, fancy.
Anything
and
that uses a charisma bonus, it's instead of a +1 for you, you have a +3.
Okay.
if you would like to make a note of that. You're just that dapper, my friend.
Nice.
Right
Um,
on. So,
anybody else?
Bernthrall will kind of at that point, look around, just, look down at his, his clothing, and then if there's some kind of a looking glass, will look in that to see himself in it, and being very appreciative and very just impressed by the level of service. He'll again clasp his fist to his chest and give a slight bow both to Sevis and then to all the maids and the help. Like, thank you all very much. This was excellent.
He asks you, "Will there be anything else, my lord?"
Oh, this is plenty. Thank you so much.
And he says, "Okay, just call out my name if you need anything else." And he kind of claps his hands together again. And as fast as they came in there, they pack up and haul ass out the door, and they are literally gone in like 2 seconds. Like it was as if they were never even there. And as you're watching the maids like take all this stuff out, like you turn around to like say something else to Sebas, and he's already gone. He's not there anymore. Um, a sword. What would you like to do before the gala?
So at the behest of Pretty, Izord just grabs a servant or someone walking by her room and just goes, Bath.
Bath.
Bath. And which,
He-
go ahead.
He looks like absolutely terrified of like just this very large woman grabbed her by the arm and just basically yelled bath at her. And she's like, yes, right away. And she calls for Sebas to come, and she just kind of yells his name out, and the door that you just came out of your room, he opens that same door and comes out. Like it's as if he was in your room when he came out. And he opens the door and he says, "Yes. What do you need?" And the maid says, "This beautiful young lady would like I think she would like a bath." And Sebas looks at a sword, and he's like, Is that so?" And he's kind of directing the question at you.
Izord is like beyond embarrassed. Like Izord doesn't do people, doesn't like to attempt to talk about things. So she like just starts to grip her hand axe at her side and just looks at Pretty like, please save me. So Pretty so Pretty looks at Sebas and it's like, just bring a bath. That's all we need. Just a bath. That's all.
Are you sure that's it? You wouldn't
That's
want
all. I'll take care of everything else. Just a bath. And get out.
right away, my lady Pretty and my lady a sword. We will bring that bath post haste. And he directs you back into your room, and he claps his hands, and just like with Bernthal, just an army of maids come in, and they actually bring a bath in there and realize that it is too small for her to fit in and have to take it out and bring in a bigger bath.
Oh Lord.
Hell yeah.
And
Jacuzzi tub.
they bring in a bigger bath. They actually bring some guys in some robes, and they start to manipulate the water, and some of them are basically taking giant balls of water and dumping it on her head or dumping it on her body in some way. Some
Oh
of
no,
them are
Izord is
they're
like in
heating.
it hiding in the corner of the room until they leave. Like she's just she's just
Oh,
waiting for
really?
him to get
A
done
hermit.
with the tub and then get out.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, Sebas says what he sees her cowering in the corner. Not cowering, I guess she would be cowering in the
A
corner, I
little
guess.
bit. She like both hand
Okay.
axes are like at the ready when they start to come at her, and she's like, mm.
So the maids are in there and they're trying to like get her, like coerce her into the bath. And she's just not having it. She's not going. And Sebas kind of sees this reluctance in her, and he kind of holds his hands out and says, "Stop," in a very, very loud and commanding voice, almost like he cast the command spell.
Mm.
And he everyone in the room immediately stops what they're doing, almost like they're frozen in place. And he looks at his sword and he was like, "Would you like to take your bath in peace without all these people?"
Yes.
And he kind of
Out.
looks at her and waits. Okay. She says yes. Okay. He says, "You heard the lady. Get out." And he basically claps his hands a second time, and everyone that was in there immediately stops, drops whatever they had in their hands, and they turn around and file out. He said, "I hope the water is to your liking. I had the mages warm it up for you. I'm not sure if you are accustomed to warm water, but I hear it is quite the luxury." And he says, "When you're ready, call out my name if you need anything else, and I will come." And he shuts the door.
Awesome. So Izord goes over and takes a look at the door. Is there a lock? door?
I mean, yeah, there's a lock, but it looks like it's like one of those old-fashioned locks that takes a key on either side, and there's a keyhole, but there's no key.
Okay. She takes she takes her dancing great sword and puts it in front of the door and commands the sword to stay there and not move. It's kind of like a
Oh,
makeshift
I thought she was gonna like a doorstop or a
like
wedge.
a
I thought she
doorstop.
was gonna
Yeah.
like I thought she was gonna like stab it in the ground so that if anyone tried to open the door, they would just hit the sword and it's stuck in the ground, sword in the stone style.
Oh,
That's fine. That's fine. It's magic.
well, kind of
It's
like
magic.
that.
It'll
Yeah.
do it'll
Yeah.
do what you say. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of
Same
like
thing.
that, but
Same
with magic, so she doesn't like
Hmm.
damage the anything.
the floor and all that shit.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
being conscious of her brute strength. I like it.
Yeah.
So she takes her bath, I'm assuming. I'm assuming she also bathes Pretty and brushes her out all nice and fluffy and shit. And
Absolutely. And then so after she takes a bath, Pretty takes her bath, Izord takes time to clean all of her armor until it's nice and glistening. And then Pretty, because she is a beautiful magical unicorn, um, starts to decorate the armor and makes this beautiful mantelpiece out of cherry blossom. So it's like this gorgeous half cape that falls from off of one shoulder, goes all the way down to the floor, and trails behind Izord. Um, and flowers just kind of rain from her shoulders. There are flowers braided up into her hair, and Izord doesn't know how to braid. Pretty doesn't have thumbs. So, I mean, they do their best to just kind of stick flowers in her hair. And it does
they,
look,
they fill in
very,
the blanks of each other.
yeah. So, I mean, glitter comes off of it as well. And then, so the cherry blossoms on the mantle, and then there are peonies and daisies and all types of wildflowers that is kind of like a half skirt on top of Izord's armor. Uh, to make her look much more formal, a little bit more approachable and less scary. So it's kind of like a very cool mixture of really hard, cold winter and then the coming of spring all mixed
Oh my
together.
god.
Ooh.
She's beautiful.
So she is
She's
Beautiful.
very scary, but she's very beautiful. And then she has this gorgeous rainbow unicorn beside her.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna give you inspiration for that.
Oh,
So
thanks.
take your inspiration and get out.
Okay.
Okay, so
And
Quex,
Yes.
after all of this, this here prettying up, are you sure you don't want to do anything?
Oh, I'm gonna do something.
Okay. What do you? What
Okay.
is Quex gonna do, Mister
So
Mika?
Quex, he calls out Sevis in a very loud voice, almost like everyone can hear him.
Well, he just screams Sebas out into his
Yeah.
room.
Sevis.
You feel a hand come over your mouth, and he says, "You don't have to yell, my boy."
Oh my gosh. Sevis is kind of
Sorry.
scary. Like, what?
Oh,
Sebas takes his hand off of your mouth, and he says, "Yes. What do you need?"
well, can you help me pick out which outfit I should take? And Quex just takes out two similar clothing that he's wearing. Very, very similar. There's literally no difference at all, except for the color. Like, which suit should I take? Just a light robe.
What colors are they?
One of them is Iridian green, and one of them is red.
Okay. He says, in times like these, I find that the best way to go is to flip a coin. And Mika, I would like you to flip a coin and assign one of those suits to your coin flip, and whichever it lands on is the one you're going to take.
Coin. Head is gonna
A
be
D2, if you will.
a D2.
That's a D2.
Oh,
That's a coin.
the green is gonna be the 1, and the red is gonna be the 2. Okay, let's do
Okay.
this. I got a 1. Let's go.
All right, so you're putting the green one on.
Surprisingly, no. He goes with the opposite. So the red one.
Sevis says, "Oh, so you know this trick," and he says that when he's facing difficult choices like this, he finds that he flips a coin, and whatever it lands on, he goes with the opposite because that's probably the outcome he wanted in the first place. And he asks you, "Are you sure you wouldn't want something maybe custom made or something tailored specifically for you, or are you okay with just this?"
Well, I rather not have anything inconvenience to my shoulder.
Oh, and he's like, "Might I take a look at that?"
Yes, however, I rather it not be healed.
Oh, he said,
Uh,
I don't know what you think I am, but I possess no power such as that."
Wax just lifts his robe all the way to his collarbone, showing this petrified shoulder. It's into stone.
He inspects your arm, and he looks lack of arm rather. He inspects your shoulder and just kind of he kind of rubs his hands over it and looks at it. He takes his monocle out and he puts it to his eye and adjusts it a little bit and looks at it, and he's kind of like he's trying to like he's almost trying to see what exactly your shoulder is made out of. And he says, "I think I have just the perfect thing for you." And he turns around and he goes to the closet and he opens the door and he disappears, and the door shuts, and he immediately comes back. The door opens, and he's got what he's got robes that look similar to what you already wore, but the shoulder part of that robe is designed in such a way that it actually doesn't cover up your shoulder at all. And it's actually more of the centerpiece of this ensemble, and it accentuates your shoulder in a way that it more or less puts your shoulder on display, and the clothing itself is very similar in color and texture to what your shoulder looks like, so it actually looks like your entire body is made of the same material that your shoulder is made out of. And for stat purposes, I would like for you to have this particular set of monk's robes raises your AC to 18, no matter what it is. If it's higher than 18, it does nothing.
Okay. Cool.
He says, I recognize this injury. And he said, you must have been attacked or fought an insane number of basilisks to have gotten petrification to this level.
Rex just looks at him like, and he just like starts bursting laughing. Ah, so you know my story.
And I know all about every single one of you. He says, I know everything there is to know about you. And he says, I had a hunch that you wouldn't want a new arm. And I think this is more fitting. This monk's robe is actually infused with the essence of basilisk skin and scales, and offers a higher level of protection than practically anything else that you could get, while keeping your mobility at a maximum. This ensemble will not hinder you, and it is of far better quality and strength than what you are normally wearing. He says, you don't have to wear it. You may wear what you brought with you, but consider this a gift from the king, and I hope it serves you well. And if you want to jot down in your inventory, you've got basically like basilisk skin monk robes.
Rex just gives him a good old pat on the back.
All right. He said, would you like to take a bath or maybe clean up a little bit before you head to the gala, or are you just going to go as is?
I'm all right. Thank you for this.
All right. He said, now, if you ever need anything, just say my name. You don't have to yell. Just say it, and I will appear, or I will come to you. And with that, he walks out the front door of your room and closes the door behind him and leaves. If everyone is ready, we can move to the gala.
Spooky man, I say. Spooky.
Anybody else
Ready.
want to do anything?
All set.
No. All right. So, Sebas comes to each of your rooms one by one, and he kind of comes to get you and take you to the ballroom. And once you all meet up with each other, you enter the ballroom, and it's these. You push open these great big double doors, and it's like that scene from Beauty and the Beast and shit, where she comes out in the yellow dress, and it's this giant chandelier in the middle of the room, and there's a orchestra playing, and there's a table full of just all kinds of incredible food, just a very large spread out for everyone to enjoy. There's some people on the dance floor. Off to the right, there's quite a number of tables, and then on the other side of the dance floor, there's even more tables. And then where the band is at, kind of behind the band, but up a little bit higher, is like it's almost like a box seat where you would assume the king would sit with his queen and his princely son. They aren't there, but Sebas tells you that to kind of do whatever you want, mingle with the guests, however you want. You can get food. He tells you that they have a special surprise, and that they actually have live music that will play shortly. And he takes his leave and kind of leaves you to your devices. So, what would you like to do before the music starts?
I do perception to see if there's any food.
You don't need to do a perception check. There is a shit ton of food. Anything and everything you can imagine, no matter how obscure, is there. The king spared no expense.
Okay, so Quax just bolts towards the food.
Okay. We'll come to you, Mika, in a second. Bernthal or Isord, any thoughts or actions you would like to take?
Izord wants to take just a general feel of everyone else that's like present at this gala. Um, just because as far as she knows, she's been employed by the king as like another bodyguard. She does know where he is, so she's already scanning for threats. As she slowly meanders her way to where the desserts are.
Okay. Give me a perception check.
An 11. That was a terrible roll.
Okay. So you're looking around and you're trying to get a general feel. You kind of make note of the exits. You make note of the layout of the room, where the food is, where the tables are, the dance floor, the stage, the king's box. You make a mental note of all of that. You slowly meander your way over to the dessert table, and there is just a mountain of stuff: pies, cakes, pastries, anything and everything you can imagine as far as a dessert is concerned is probably at this table somewhere. And it is a large table. It's a huge table. And you look for the king, but you don't see him in his box, and you don't really see him out in the crowd either, and you can't really tell. um it's kind of hard. Like, there's a lot of people in here. There's a lot of unfamiliar faces. A lot of it's getting just kind of, people are starting to meld together. Their faces just kind of mix and match, and you don't know who they are. You can't put names to them because you don't know who they are. You can't suss out who anyone is. And you make your way over to the dessert table, and Bernthal. There we go. What would you like to do? You just gonna stand in the
I'm
doorway,
gonna,
or are you gonna mingle?
I'm gonna mingle a little bit. Bernthal has been involved with, he's an army man of sorts, so he's been involved in some of these shindigs before. So he's gonna uh, catch a waiter as they're coming by and grab a drink off the tray and start introducing himself to people as he is ultimately making his way over to the food as well, because he's been traveling all day and he hasn't had anything to eat.
Give me a
He'll enter. What's that?
give me a sleight of hand check for that drink snatching off the tray.
Okay. Uh, Must this be the one good roll I have?
It's a 1 and you
No,
accidentally punch
it's an
the
8.
wait. I was gonna say it's a 1 to accidentally punch the waiter in the face.
So with an 8, I would say that you successfully grab your drink, but you knock like 2 other drinks over in the process and kind of spill them on the way. Um,
Okay, so Bernthal would apologize up and down the wait staff for having caused that mess and that work for them, and offer to help. And I'm sure they'd say, "No, no, no, I got it. Don't worry about it."
Sebas
But then
actually
he, so he,
appears and puts his hand on your back, and he kind of gestures for you to, like, he shakes his head like, no, this is what they're here for. This is why this is their life. This is what they live for. They live to serve. Let them do their job. And he kind of
Okay.
he's trying to like alleviate you of like the guilt and the responsibility that you're not necessarily that you're higher than them, but it's not your place to do that, more or less. Like he
Okay.
hard to say. I'm trying to make my thoughts into words and it's not working. Like it
Yeah,
I don't want to come
trying to
off as
make me feel better.
yeah,
Basically.
he's not trying to be pompous about it. It's just the fact that like you're an esteemed guest. Like really, he's kind of like chastising you. Like remember your place. Like you let the wait staff do their thing, and you be a guest and enjoy the night.
Yeah.
Accidents happen.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. And so Bernthal will then kind of continue on his way, drink in hand, toward the food, and kind of mingle and make a little bit of small talk as he makes his way over there with all the people he doesn't know. Does Bernthal pick up on any? Does he meet anyone of any particular intrigue, or pick up on
Bernthal, are you trying to
interesting
say
things?
you want to eavesdrop on some conversations?
No.
Dun,
Not
dun, dun.
Bernthal is not necessarily eavesdropping, but he is trying to interject himself into some circles and meet people as he goes. So he is not eavesdropping, but he is taking part very quickly in many, many small conversations.
Okay. So, I would assume Bernthal goes around and kind of like, shakes some hands and whatnot. He introduces himself. People are like, "Oh, we know exactly who you are," and
Mm-hmm.
you get some people who are like the hero of I done forgot the name of your city. The hero of Cathor. They Mr. Sir Bernthal, Sir Bellringer. Um, they call you in all these titles, and you as you approach some of these people, they're actually like talking about before you even get to them, you can hear that they're kind of talking about the king, and they said that he's been you pick up that the king's been acting strange ever since the oracle summoned him to the temple. And not only you hear it once and you think, oh well, that's just it's probably just gossip, but then you start to hear it like over and over and over again. Like you hear like 6 or 7 different groups of people saying just that they're concerned for the king, that the king's been acting kind of strange, that the oracle heiress is put ideas in his head or told him some stuff that he doesn't want to hear, or maybe that she knows something that he doesn't, or she's told him something that he probably shouldn't know, etc. Yeah. So, and then you join in on the conversations, and they're like, "Oh, Mr. Bellringer, oh, the hero of Quathoris, so very nice to meet you. We've heard all about you. We know of your great deeds."
And especially as Bernthal starts to clue into the theme of the Oracle and acting strange and all of that, I'd say probably on the last opportunity he has to really ask some questions, he'd pop into a group, hear that, and go, "What is this Oracle? Where are they? And why would they have summoned the king?"
Give me a history check.
History check. That is a solid 4.
Oh my gosh.
Hell
Oh my
yeah.
god.
The
He is
curse
not your man
continues.
either, V.
So
I have 0 good nights. What are you talking about, Mika?
You gotta be
Hey,
positive.
Goodness.
Oh,
they look
no.
at you kind of like, what do you mean? What's the oracle and why can she summon the king? Like she's the oracle of Sinnoh. She is basically high priestess and direct communicator with Sinnoh. Like what she says comes directly from Sinnoh. Um, Normally she's at the temple and she has more authority than the king does. And they look at you like, how could you not know that? Like they're kind of perplexed that you don't know about the oracle and you don't know about Sinnoh or the temple, the big ass temple right outside of the castle, and they're kind of worried that maybe battle has kind of done a number on you and your memory. He said it's sure done a number on these dice rolls.
That's for dang sure.
So
Okay, so
yeah,
Berthold
they
kind of exit that conversation very politely and go about his business, probably making some remark about, well, I'm busy ringing bells and making names.
So as
um
Don't
as
have time for
uh
oracles.
as Berthel is doing his little sneaky, um Pretty is going to do her own little sleuthing because I mean obviously Izord can't. She's 6'6" and menacing. I mean her stealth is really high, but I mean it's kinda I mean, she sticks out. So Pretty's gonna cast Pass Without a Trace and she's just gonna go eavesdropping on everybody that she can.
Okay. Um Sorry. I got Nitro Pepsi and I'm fucking in love with it.
Whoops.
It made a loud noise when I opened it and I thought you could hear it. um so his sword starts to, or well, I'm sorry, Pretty starts to eavesdrop on her behalf, right? That's what you
Mhm.
said.
Yep.
Okay. So she kind of prances around and people are enamored. They are absolutely in love with this great fluffy pony that's just kind of prancing around, being all cute and stuff. And as she prances around, she hears all kinds of stories about the king, the deeds that he's done, the stuff that he's slain, adventures he's been on. They say that he used to be somewhat of an adventurer against, at the behest of his father. He his dad never wanted him to basically leave the castle, and the king, the current king, Reggie Gigas, he is not one to sit still, and he actually went against his father's wishes like quite a number of times in order to go and do these hunts and stuff. And the every story that you hear about the king, he is revered. He is he is revered as very powerful, very intelligent, very he's got a very tactful mind. He thinks about every step of the plan. He makes sure that when they went on hunts that everyone came back alive. And as far as you know, every single hunt the king's ever been on, they've never lost one person ever. Um you actually hear a story about the king meeting Johnny, the head guard. Um And I feel like this story in particular about the king meeting Johnny piques Pretty's interest as far as, oh, that's that guy that like absolutely loves me and played me a song so I'd feel better. And she kind of dials in to this conversation, and it's uh it's these two nobles, and they're just kind of going back and forth about how they don't feel that Johnny deserves his position as head guard. And the other nobles kind of, he he kind of makes a face at him like, "Are you daft? Like Johnny saved the king's life. Of course he deserves his position. Are you insane? Like no one has ever seen a bard as powerful as him." And he says, "But I have a sneaking suspicion it all has to do with that golden fiddle that he has." And the other guy's like, "Yeah, yeah. I mean, he doesn't really pass himself off as someone that contains an insane amount of magical power, but he said that golden fiddle just doesn't rub me the right way." And he 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 kind of tells him to keep his thoughts to himself because if someone hears him bad mouthing Johnny, the king might have his head. And with that, they kind of stop talking about it altogether, and they kind of start talking about other stuff. And at that point, when they stop talking about Johnny, Pretty loses interest and kind of meanders away.
Hmm. Izord wants to go see if she can find Johnny.
Um, okay. Before Isord walks away, Quex, would you like to do anything, or are you stuffing your face?
I am still stuffing my face, creating a big ruckus.
Okay. Well,
Nom 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 nom.
you do that. Um, Isord, as you begin to try to exit the ballroom, um, it's almost like the lights, the candles, everything that is brightening the room, all of a sudden becomes very dim. Whether through magic or some kind of trick, you don't know. But the lights dim down, and the stage flames and fireworks and all kinds of pyrotechnics start to go off around the stage. And from the floor, Johnny rises up out of the floor with his golden fiddle in his hand. And he's joined by a group of musicians, and they're all playing a bunch of different instruments. Make a perception or an arcana check.
28 for perception.
Okay. The band looks really odd. You could have swore when you looked at them the first time that they were all human beings, but the more you look at them, the less human they look. And come to find out that the band is actually they're actually a bunch of demons. His band is a band of demons, all playing instruments. And before you can say anything, Johnny begins to play the shit out of his fiddle. And I would like everyone to make charisma or wisdom saving throws, whichever you prefer.
Oh, Lord. Okay, what do we have? 21.
Okay.
24.
Okay. The Bernthal.
Hold on. He wasn't at the computer. He should be there soon.
Oh, okay. All right.
See, are you there? See? He came out
McNugget.
he came out where I am and got like a sweatshirt or something, then went back inside.
Oh, did he miss my did he miss your perception check?
Yeah, he did. That's why I'm like, he doesn't know.
Oh.
No,
He doesn't know.
missed it.
Hey! I bet he assumed
dare ya.
that I was gonna go on my own adventure or do something crazy long
He
and
had some
drawn
time to
out.
go.
Yeah.
He had some time to go and do the thing, whatever it was.
Yep. And he's still not back.
Okay, so to catch you up because you missed it,
You missed a really big thing.
Sword was looking for she wanted to go look for Johnny, but before she could go look for Johnny, all the lights in the ballroom dimmed, and Johnny just basically rose out of the floor like Slash and started playing the shit out of his fiddle. With he was joined by a band of demons. Per Sword's perception check, she could actually discern that the band playing with him was not humans, and they were. The more she looked at them, the more demonic they looked. And as Johnny begins to play, I wanted all of you to make a charisma or wisdom saving throw, whichever you prefer. And what? Quex got a 24 and you got a 21, I
Mhm.
think, or was it the other way around?
No, I had a you're right.
No.
You're right.
Quex had a 24, she had a 21, and what do you have?
Nat 1.
No way.
No.
Nat 1. It's 11 to make 12, but it's a nat 1.
Oh my god.
The
So,
It can't be real.
well, you all fail, and Z failed extra hard.
Wait, we all failed?
Failed, and you black out.
Hold on.
Leo?
Wait, is this being charmed?
No,
Oh, okay.
No, my
this is
food.
not being charmed.
Okay.
This is actually.
This
Let me
went
look
down
at
to
the spell
Washington.
that I'm using.
I mean, I get advantage against being charmed. So, I mean, I don't. Shit, I rolled a 17.
I-
What do we
Hold
have to
on.
do in nat 20?
No, it's just a high DC save.
Okay.
Like because you guys have ridiculous modifiers. You could make the save if you rolled good.
Well, I mean, my wisdom is the highest, and it's just a +4. So the highest I could possibly roll is a 24.
Possibly the highest could be a 26, and that's it.
Okay, so you do. The spell that I'm trying to use is considered charmed.
Okay. Well, what
So,
did Mika roll though? What did Quex
Mika
roll?
got a 24.
Okay. Well,
Quex got a 24.
if a 24 failed, then it doesn't matter because the 24 is the highest I could possibly roll.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Okay. Well, the DC was 25. So
Dang, I couldn't have made it no matter what.
I was
There's
one
no
away.
way. Yeah, so you just failed
But,
extra hard.
I feel like
Always.
He broke his neck, fell down the stairs. He had a concussion.
I mean, my super
okay. I know what I'm.
high-
I
my
know what
su-
I'm gonna.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I said I know what I'm gonna do for Z, because of his nat 1. So, but I can't tell you until later because it's part of the spell.
Okay.
But I am using a spell, and it is part of. It is a D&D spell. Like I didn't homebrew this shit.
Oh no.
So,
Yeah, no, all my super
no.
high stuff is on strength and constitution. Like my strength's a +9,
Hell yeah.
constitution's a +7. So that's where my high.
oh, you'll
ones
need
are.
that for the end. But
Okay, great.
for right now, you needed wisdom.
Shit.
You needed wisdom or charisma. So, you all failed and black out.
And they both. Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, that's
Wait,
that.
Wait, does that mean do I need to roll for pretty?
Oh shit. Well, Pretty's immune to being charmed.
Oh, yeah, she is.
He's gonna be freaking out.
Yeah. So do I just need to role play as Pretty for a minute?
Yeah, if you want to.
Okay.
Yay!
Yeah, I wasn't counting on this horse because I remember when I
Huh.
was picking the spell, I
Huh.
was like, none of these motherfuckers are immune to being charmed, so I'm good. They're gonna fail unless they just
Yeah.
have high charisma,
Yeah.
which
Hey,
How?
I didn't
question.
think anyone was gonna put charisma points in. So
Yeah.
yes,
Question.
Mika.
Am I being put to sleep?
No,
No,
Okay, good.
So Pretty is like standing.
Pretty is not affected by this spell.
Not at all. So Pretty immediately
Okay.
finds a Zord and standing over a Zord with her horn pointed at Johnny and just heartbroken because she thought he was a good one. So I don't know what else. I guess she's just ready to do something. That she's gonna protect the
Um.
Zord because the Zord's lights out right now.
Okay. Hold on one second. I gotta look something up because I'm not sure if I can even do this to
Okay.
it. No.
Pretty
This-
shall reign.
Her being a unicorn kind of knocks out my backup plan.
Oh no. Hold on.
Pretty is the Uno reverse.
Yeah, that's true. She did use a
Oh
Uno
no,
reverse
reverse.
on.
You have been bamboozled.
Oh shit. Okay.
You had been had.
I want it to be fair, so if she tries to escape, she can escape. But Johnny's gonna try one more thing on her, and
Okay. I figured out a thing that. Oh man, a thing that that Pretty can do. So I
okay.
don't know. Does
I'll tell you what.
go ahead.
You roll initiative for Pretty, and I'll roll initiative for Johnny.
Okay, cool.
And whoever rolls the highest will get to go first.
Johnny, Johnny,
Okay,
yes,
what
Papa.
is she didn't really get a bonus on initiative, so I'll just roll. Okay. Let's go Pretty. Rainbow
Let me get my.
unicorn beautifulness. All right, I got 13.
Oh no. I fucked all this up. Hold on.
Oh no.
I added too many dice and it rolled like 16 d20.
Oh Lord.
I got
Oh
a
my
6, so
Okay. All right. Are demons celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead?
It would be fiends.
demons are fiends, but I will tell you right now, Johnny is not a demon. He is a human being.
No. That's right.
hmm
But I'm talking about the other ones in the band.
Oh yeah, all his whole little troop of people are straight up demons.
Oh shit.
Fiends.
How many are there?
I'd probably say like 8 or 9.
They
Maybe.
put us. They
Oh,
put us
that's
asleep
so
with jazz.
That's so many.
There's a lot of people in. Well, there's a bunch of people in the ballroom, but there's also.
Everyone's out, like everyone's out, but Pretty versus this demonic band and Johnny, the golden fiddle player.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh shit. Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
God, her not being able to be charmed really just kind of puts a
So
fire in my ass.
okay, you're gonna get really upset, but
Go ahead.
Pretty can see. So she's like kind of standing over a Zord, and then can she see Burnthral and Quix?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Pretty's gonna use teleport, and
Oh, I don't know if that's gonna work. Let me look the rules up because
okay,
if you're the spell that I'm using makes them incapacitated,
okay.
so
It
that's the
says
same as being down.
right,
They
but it
have to be willing.
right. So, does down mean they're not willing?
I'm looking it up. I didn't
Okay.
anticipate this either. Capacitated.
They said in presentable variables. How many variables?
This is gonna be good. Well, that's fucking Reddit, so I don't.
Can't trust Reddit.
Well, it's because okay, let's see. This is D&D Beyond. It's willing.
The death
No one
silence.
sleeping or no one sleeping or unconscious can be considered willing. A charmed or deceived creature might be willing based on the strength of the charmed effect or the skill of the ruse. I would still allow PC to declare themselves willing for an ally spell while they are unconscious to be willingly teleported to safety or something similar. Some of these other people are also saying it's up to the DM, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that
Oh my gosh, the suspense. The suspense.
unlike in real life. But as for whether a creature must be conscious or informed to be willing, unlike in real life where that is an absolutely essential part of consent, remember that in 5e that we're talking about whether the player DM controlling the creature is willing and not the creature in the game itself. If you cast a willing target spell on an unconscious teammate, that player will still be able to tell you, yes, I accept, or no, I resist, and that's the important part. Rules as written doesn't necessarily like clear it up, but it's pretty much dependent on the player. So I'm going to say that because you are in control of Isord, and as long as Mika and Z agree, you can use teleport on them to take them away.
Okay, cool. Well, Izord will totally be teleported out of there, and then it's up to them whether they want to go or not.
Okay.
So, y'all, do y'all want to get teleported out of here? Or you just want to see what's up?
Take me away, Mary Poppins.
I'm fine with being teleported.
Bob, I'm so sorry. I'm just throwing all kinds of
Where are you?
wrenches.
Where are you going?
Um,
Don't say away, because I know
I'm
you're going
not.
away. But where are you gonna go?
Right. I'm not gonna go away. I'm gonna go to where is the gala being held? Where is the gala at?
The
Just in
gala is in Olympia. It's in Olympia, in the country of Washington.
no, right.
Gonna
But
go
like
that way.
within the castle. Like it's in a ballroom.
I mean, it's in a ballroom somewhere in the middle of the castle. I mean,
But it's
it's a
not
big ass castle.
but it's not the throne room.
It's not the throne room, and it's not the courtyard, and it's not any of the places that you've been to already.
Okay. I'm gonna take us to the throne room.
Okay. Uh,
Just because
cool.
all the magic and the glyphs and the truth stuff kind of gives pretty
I'll offer
the
some kind of
yeah.
protection.
Well, I mean, if anything, we can get answers. Like if something comes
Okay.
at us, we can ask questions. They have to answer with the truth. So I mean, it's something.
Better than Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we also can't just leave because we were given, a job. So Pretty wouldn't, like Azord wouldn't want to leave and run away. So otherwise, I'd be like, we're going to the courtyard and being like, skirt, bye. so we're gonna go to the throne room.
Well, I mean, you're all still incapacitated or essentially unconscious. So
Yeah.
right now, you've got a horse that just burned the only teleport they have for the day,
Yep.
and let's see.
That's okay.
So if you're gonna go to the throne room, yeah, you teleport to the throne room. Let's see. I'm gonna have to modify some stuff now because you technically weren't supposed to be here yet.
Oh no.
Oh no!
But
Did you put us in a very dangerous situation? More dangerous?
Well, and then after I got us to
Probably.
safety, I was gonna do healing touch and bring everyone out of unconsciousness because I can do that.
okay, I'll tell you what. Let's see. How do I want to do this? So the whole shit of this was that had you not done this is how it was gonna go.
I'm so sorry.
Everyone, I forgot about the damn horse. Everyone was gonna wake up basically to the sound of the ballroom doors being kicked in, and leading the charge would have been Johnny, and he starts to bark out orders to the guards, and basically all of you, the queen, the prince, and the butler, are arrested and taken to the throne room. So you would have been restrained in the throne room, but right now you're just in there, and
Oh.
it's just the horse that's conscious. So I would say that Johnny has not made it to the throne room. He doesn't know where you guys went. So I would assume that okay.
Me.
Okay, we can just segue right into this. So pretty teleports all of you to the throne room. And once you get to the throne room, it's really dark in there. It's a little too dark. It's do you have dark vision? Yeah, you do have dark vision.
Mhm.
Okay. So Pretty can do all of you have dark vision?
Azord also has dark vision.
I don't think Quex, well, it doesn't matter because he's unconscious. Quex does not have dark vision, and I don't think that
Berthal does.
Berthal does. Okay. So it's kind of dark in there. You know what? Give me a well, actually no. Let's see. I know what I want to do, but I'm not sure how to implement it, like how I want you to do it or how I want you to make this roll. So Johnny's going to be looking for you guys. So I'm going to give you each a round to do something. And since Pretty is the only one conscious right now, the first round will only be her, and I'm going to roll every round. And once they reach a threshold of a certain amount, Johnny will find you, and he'll find you in the throne room if you're still there. But after you reach that threshold, basically you'll be caught, and depending on what happens after that, we'll kind of segue through that. So, go ahead, and I'm gonna make my first roll. Okay, and Pretty.
Mhm.
Go ahead and take your action for this first round.
gosh, I don't even know what to do. Okay. Well, we're gonna redo Pass Without a Trace. So everyone within, or people of my choosing within 30 feet of me get a plus 10 bonus to dexterity checks. So we're going to do that.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna do healing touch on, okay, it just says, oh, just one creature. Okay, on a Zord to wake up a Zord sooner.
Okay. Let me see.
Because pass without a trace is at will, so I'm assuming that's like a cantrip. And then healing touch is more like an actual action.
Okay. Z Bernthal was the one who rolled a nat 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's go ahead and see. Okay. Isolde wakes up.
Mm-hmm.
She cannot remember what happened more or less about 15 to 20 minutes before she got knocked unconscious. So the last thing she really remembers is eating sweets from that table.
Okay. Pretty just dives right in. Isolde, you told me what happened. Johnny's bad. And just like word vomits without speaking at all. And just is like freaking out. And it's like, there were demons on the stage. I didn't know what to do. Everyone fell down. So I just got us out of there. And now we're in here because everyone can tell the truth.
Because
Pretty,
everyone can tell the truth.
yeah.
Okay.
Pretty went into full panic. So now Isolde is pissed because she kind of thought that Johnny was cool, and now Johnny's not cool anymore.
Okay. So
And so
Isolde.
Isolde is gonna go into a rage, and is just
Okay.
really, really
She has.
angry.
She also understands that. She also understands that. Like, Pretty would never, even if they weren't in the room of truth, Pretty would never lie to her. Pretty
Never.
is the one true thing in her life that she can trust without a shadow of a doubt. So the moment she says that Johnny is bad, she like, even though she kind of like, she was like, what? Like, Johnny is bad? And if Pretty said it, it's got to be true.
Absolutely.
So she does not hesitate. She is in a full-blown rage. She doesn't know why Johnny is bad, and she doesn't quite understand what just happened, but I would almost say that yeah, we'll just leave it at that. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this next round and roll again. And let's see. Ooh. Okay, so I just rolled a nat 20, which is gonna double.
Oh,
I'm just gonna
Oh,
go ahead and
shit.
I'm gonna add 20.
and
I'm
does
gonna add 20
immediately.
to the score that I already have. And then I'm gonna roll the dice again and add that. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, let's see. Oofta. Okay. Okay, so with the nat 20 and the additional dice, Johnny reaches his threshold and bursts into the throne room with like 50 guards,
Oh my god,
20
immediately. Oh shit.
He's got a platoon. Some of these, if you look at them, because you've already seen them, are his demonic partners from his band, and they are there, and so they burst into the throne room, and yeah, there's an unconscious Quex, there's an unconscious Bernthal, there is a conscious Ice Sword or Isword that kind of doesn't really know what's going on, but she knows that Johnny bad. And then there's Pretty,
Yep.
minus a healing touch, minus her teleport.
Yep.
And let's see. I gotta look back to my notes because we skipped a bunch of shit.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. Yeah, so Johnny basically says to he says to Isword, surrender or else. And he snaps his fingers, and all of the mages basically their hands start to glow. They start to arm themselves up with various spells, and they are all looking at Pretty. His guards that aren't using magic, that have crossbows, they are also aimed at Pretty, and everyone else that has a sword and shield or some kind of martial weapon, they're kind of like surrounding Johnny, and Johnny has his golden fiddle in his hands. What do you want to do?
How many people are there?
There's probably in the room, there's probably about, give or take, like 10 mages and maybe like another like 20 or 30 guards. Like they've basically
Jesus.
consumed the entrance. Like he went and got a battalion of guards that basically like a small standing army for like a personal guard for the king, and has directed them to the throne room to find you. And there's another like maybe like 20 guardsmen outside kind of watching the back, and there's another maybe like 10 or 15 mages out there with them. Like he has a small army with him at his disposal.
Okay. So and he
The
said
guard, so
surrender?
surrender or else.
Why? Says Izord.
What do you mean? What do you mean why? And he gestures for you to turn around.
Why? Why surrender?
He gestures for you to turn around. You know why you need to surrender.
No, say truth. And then she points at the glyphs on the ground.
Because the king is dead.
I did not kill the king.
He said, you may not have killed the king, but your compatriots may have killed the king. And he gestures at them on the ground.
And then, Pretty goes, I didn't kill the king. And it resounds in everyone's head.
Everyone kind of like immediately gets a headache, and they're wondering where that came from. Johnny puts his fiddle down, and he basically sidesteps around you with his guards, and he's trying to get you to turn around and look at the throne. And do you look at the throne?
So I'm in a rage. I want to like take my great axe and bash his fiddle to pieces.
Okay, so like Johnny is like surrounded by guardsmen. Like you'd have to bash them first.
But you put the fiddle on the ground. I want to hit the fiddle on the ground.
He put the fiddle on his back. Like he
Oh,
puts his fiddle.
he
I
said
mean he
down.
put it down.
Oh, okay.
He had it ready to play. And he put his fiddle like he disarmed himself, I guess you could say. He stowed
Okay.
his fiddle away.
Okay, got it. No,
More
when
or
you
less.
said down, I thought you meant like on the ground. I'm like, I'm gonna destroy the fiddle.
No, like
Okay, never mind. No,
more like
I don't want to
lowered,
attack him.
lowered his he lowered his weapon is what I he lowered his weapon is what I meant.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, no. I didn't. No, I don't want to attack him. That's dumb right now. Zord might be mad, big mad, but she's not dumb. Sure, yeah, well, sure, but
If you look,
I'm going to like grab hold of. Hold on, I want to see something real quick. Oh dang, it's just me by myself. Okay. So I still have my weapon at the ready, or at least just have my hands on my weapons. It's not drawn, but sure. I kind of like side eye, but behind me, but I still have Johnny and everyone else in front of me where I can see them.
okay. You look at the throne and you see the king's lifeless body shriveled and crumpled in a heap on his throne. He is very much dead. 130% dead.
Oh, that sucks.
And Johnny says, how could you not know what you did? He says this to a sword, who I'm assuming is gonna continue to plead their case.
Well, yeah, because of the innocent glyphs.
The innocent clips. Uh, so
She's like,
Johnny, make
not kill
an
King.
insight check. Make an insight check for me.
Okay.
Either you or Pretty.
Okay.
One or the other.
What's wisdom insights? That one. What's her wisdom? Technically my insight's better. Okay. A 13 plus 4, 17. 17.
Okay. So he keeps asking this question over and over again, like, you know what you did, you know what's happening. And when you keep saying, no, I didn't kill the king, he is very confused. He looks very confused. He doesn't understand why. Well, he thinks you're lying, but you're in the throne room and you can't lie in the throne room. So he's very, very, very confused as to why you're saying what you're saying. And he's starting to get frustrated at this point, and he holds his hand up and says, if you do not surrender, I will command the guards to fire.
Why you not believe?
And he's like, he said, I have to be thorough in my investigation, and I must question each one of you.
Why you play with demons?
The demons. And he looks confused at that statement, like, how, I don't want to say that. He looks very confused at you, as in he's trying to like convene what demons, but he can't say the words. And he says, I only play with my friends, and that's it.
Your friends are demons.
And he looks around, and his demon buddies are just all kind of like shrugging, like, well, the cat's out of the bag, you might as well. And he's like, yeah, I agree. And he drops his hand and they fire. They all fire at Pretty. Every single one of them.
Okay, Pretty's gonna do a legendary action and is
Okay.
going to create a shimmering magical field around herself. And
Diamond.
let's see. And then gains, well, it's only on it says the unicorn creates shimmer magic field around itself or another creature it can see. So it's just one thing. So and she gets +2 to her AC,
Okay.
which is not much.
So it is not. Her AC is oofed. It's
It'll be a 14.
Okay.
And then so does Izord have a opportunity to do something?
Yeah.
Okay. How far away is Johnny from Izord?
So he busts through the door and you're in the center of the room and he kind of skirted around you. So I would say he's probably somewhere in like the 30-foot range, maybe 40.
Make up your mind. Which one? It is important.
I'm gonna say I'll say 30.
30. Great. I'm going to Misty Step 30 feet, and then I'm going to hit him with let's see. All I've got with my what do I want to use? What do I want to use? My great axe.
Okay.
Do you want me to roll to hit?
Yes. Roll to hit.
That is a 27.
Holy fuck. Is that a crit?
No, it's not.
Okay. God damn. All right, I guess roll damage.
Okay. Wait a minute. Hold on. Okay. Okay, that's 14. And then while I'm in a rage, let me see. Get advantage. Okay, that doesn't matter. +4. Oh, so that's an 18 instead of a 14. And then since I'm a berserker barbarian, I can also hit
You're gonna hit me
again.
again.
I can hit you again.
Hit me again then.
I'm gonna hit you again. That is a no, hold on. 13.
13.
Boom, boom.
13 does not hit.
Oh.
Or
Oh, wait.
you talking
That
about
was
damage?
That was damage. Hold on.
Okay. I was about to say I think you have like a
Nat
+11 to hit, so I'm
20!
sure, but oh god. Okay. So nat 20 for me. Nat 20 for me is automatic double damage.
Hell yeah. So that's a 26 damage.
So you did 18 and then
26.
18 and 26 is number
40.
44?
Yep.
Yeah.
Boom, boom.
Okay. Okay, so Johnny takes these licks, and as you're swinging your axe against him, so the man, I don't know how I want to do this. So you cast first with Pretty, you cast the legendary action Shimmering Shield, correct?
Yep.
And then for Isord's turn, you're swinging for the fences at Johnny.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
She beat mad.
Johnny, and I'm pretty sure while you're in a rage, you can't be you have advantage against charmed. Pretty sure. Yeah. Okay. I just want to make
I
sure
have
that you're
advantage
not
against charm all the time because
all the
I'm
time. Okay.
an Eladrin or however you say that.
Oh, you also have brutal critical. You should have rolled more
What?
damage.
Oh,
You have brutal critical.
Oh, what does that mean? What-
So I would say it's double damage for me, but brutal critical adds another 3 additional weapon dice to your extra damage for crit attack. So
Oh my god.
technically you could get triple damage.
So instead of two D12s, what do I roll?
You would roll well, you would get that second one automatically, but I guess you would roll a third dice on top of the 2 max damage.
Okay, come on, another D12.
You can't be charmed or frightened while raging. It's mindless
Right.
rage.
Okay, so that's 15.
Okay. So 15 on 44 is 59. Okay. Oh, we're still looking good. Still good.
Oh god.
Still Gucci bandanas.
Bitches, y'all need to
Okay.
wake up.
Let's see. So all of these guards still fired on Pretty. You're in a rage hitting Johnny. Johnny's gonna cast. I think I'm gonna go with entanglement. Jesus. I was not expecting all of this right now, to be honest.
Pew 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 pew
Pew
pew.
pew 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 pew.
Ding swing.
Okay. Hell yeah. So all of these guards are gonna fire on Pretty. There's there's 6 guards with heavy crossbows, and they aren't that good, so some of them might not hit.
What kind of do they get disadvantage because they're not far enough away?
No, they have a range of 20-60,
Okay.
so they're in like the perfect range to
Okay.
hit.
Bummer. I was hoping I'd be
But
somewhere outside of
6
that number.
6 guards 6 guards firing well, at least firing I'm gonna have to roll 6 times. Let's see. Okay. So this is for the guards that are using crossbows. Okay. So +3 to hit on the guards. Let's see. Where's my roller
If you
at?
kill Pretty, I'll never forgive you.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna be so upset.
So Pretty has an AC. Did she cast it on herself? So her AC is now
Yes.
14, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay. So let's see. Only one guard hit her with an arrow and dealt 4 damage. But now you
Okay.
have 5
So bad.
mages also firing
And
magic
thinking no.
missiles at her.
Oh no. Okay. Okay, so her hit points is we'll I guess
I was gonna just use the average hit points, which is 67.
Right, okay. Oh god. Okay. All right, go ahead. I'm doing the math. I'm keeping up with your
Okay.
health.
So 5 mages are gonna fire magic missile, and they're gonna use a second spell slot for each one, which is gonna make 4 darts, and each dart deals 1d4.
Oh my god.
So 5 times 5 times 4 is 20, so that's 20d4 plus 1.
They automatically hit?
Yeah, they don't. There's no
There's no like dex
there. You don't
save?
roll. There's no save for it. You create 3 glowing darts of magical force. Each dart hits a creature of your choice that you can see within range, and there's a range of 120 feet. And a dart deals 1d4 plus 1 of force damage to its target. The darts all strike simultaneously, and you direct them to hit one or several creatures.
I hate that.
And since they're casting it,
Oh,
Magic Missile
no.
is it's
Broken.
almost as bad as Witch Bolt. Yeah, Magic Missile's great. It's like the best wizard spell that you could use.
No. Okay.
At
So-
second level, you get an extra dart, so that's 5d20, or 5d4 worth, or 20d4 plus 1, so plus 5. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, it is 4 darts per dude. There's 5 dudes. There's 20. And since there's 5 dudes, that's plus 5, so it's 20d4 plus 5.
Oh, okay. Well, goodbye, pretty. It was great while it lasted. Okay, so you go ahead and roll all that shit. Tell me what the damage is.
All right.
Watch, be all ones.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, I can only roll 12 at a time. Okay, so here's the first 12.
Oh my god.
So, that's 32. Oh, I need to take 2 away. Is that right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Why do you want to kill Pretty?
7, 8. I need to get rid of her. So
She
32 and
she
18, which
messed
is
everything
40.
up.
She messed everything up. She's got to go. 40 and plus 5, so that's 45 damage on top of the
Right.
6. On top of the
Is this
4.
punishment?
Oh no. 45. Oh god, Pretty, no. Oh shit. 5.
Johnny takes these licks and he casts Entangle on his sword, and
What is
it
that?
lasts for 1 minute. You got to succeed on a strength saving throw or be restrained
There's
by
not a
plants.
dex saving? It's strength?
It's a strength saving throw.
Do I do it now or on my turn?
No, you do it now.
Okay, strength saving. I got a 15. Wait.
Okay,
Wait
that
a
does
minute.
not.
15. Wait, no, that wasn't
You
right.
get a
Hold
plus
on.
to it.
11 plus 20. Dirty 20.
Okay. Well, you succeed. Never mind.
Okay.
You free yourself. So his roots try to come up out of the ground, and they start to wrap around her legs. But I'm assuming she just kind of starts chopping away at them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, that doesn't work. But he also tries to talk to Isord and say that, look, if you do not stop and surrender, we're gonna kill Pretty. And he gestures over to like his squad of goons that have already like fired their first round of missiles and arrows and are preparing a second round. Do you look over at Pretty, or does Pretty call out to Isord?
Has no one woken up yet?
No, they are incapacitated for. Let's see. They're incapacitated for at the most 24 hours.
What?
It's like
Oh my
that's
god.
a lot of rain.
Okay. Are there any? Okay, so I'm looking around the throne room. Are there any other like doors or exits like closer to the thrones? Like any other door through there?
The throne room only has one entrance that you like know of, and it's the one that they came through. You could alternatively try to jump out the window, and it's like the throne room is like not even like a story up. It's not ground level, but at the same time, it's not exactly a story in the air, if that makes sense. Like you
Okay.
could jump and make the fall and take like a little bit of fall damage, but it's not gonna kill you.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to. How far away is the window?
Well, since you came to Johnny, I would say it's probably like another 20 or 30 feet to the window. I'd say 30. I'd say another 30 feet, and you'd be at the window at 30 feet.
Okay. So basically, what I want to do is I'm going to. I want to read this one more time. Okay, I'm going to Misty Step as my bonus action to back to Pretty and grab her. And then I'm going to uh use my movement, and then if I need to dash to get the rest of the way, because I can run 40 feet. And then we leap out the window while I'm holding on to her. And I'm like, see ya, bitches, I'm out.
I would say you'd have to dash, but with your dash would be more than enough to get out the window.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
We're going to do that.
You
I'm
jump
out
out the window.
with Pretty in my
All right.
arms.
You just left the other two there.
Yep. I don't care about them over Pretty. Like, this army is trying to kill my baby. Like, no, thank you. They didn't help me
Okay.
none.
Oh lord.
Johnny commands the little battalion to basically restrain and tie up uh God, Bernthal and Quex. And they frisk them and take any kind of anything that they might have on them that they might consider dangerous or anything like that. And they tie them up and leave them there. And Johnny actually calls Sebas. And when Sebas appears, Johnny says, lock down the barrier, no one in or out, gather the army and have them surround the castle. And Sebas goes out a door and disappears. And with that, I think we're gonna have to stop because this has completely derailed this one shot, and I'm not sure how to get everyone back on track, so I'm gonna have to rewrite the end.
I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
You should.
I knew something like this was gonna happen. It's the problem is that
You've
it's
been
okay.
bamboozled.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
no.
bamboozled. I will definitely rework it, and we'll have to pick up where we left off. And when we come back, we're gonna pick up with Quex and Bernthal, who will have awakened by the time that we get to the next part of this one shot.
Yeah, Azor's
So
just
when we come
gone
back,
out
they'll
of
be
here.
awake, and a sword is somewhere on the castle grounds, trapped inside a bubble.
Unless she already got out of here.